8:30. Thanks for playing the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
No, we're going to bomb the hell out of them if they violate the agreement.
President Donald Trump says we've got to deal with Iran, and if they choose not to follow the rules, he says he is more than ready to react. Hi, you guys. I'm Judea Murray, live from Philadelphia. This is Philadelphia Live. If this is your first time ever joining us, we go over breaking news. We bring you live news. And I want to show you a couple of things happening right now across the country. So on the right next to me, you're taking a live look at a massive Los Angeles warehouse fire. One of our sister stations, KTTV, is bringing us this live imagery you're seeing from their Skyfox. As I mentioned, it is absolutely massive, and they're not quite sure how this all began. So we're still waiting to get information, but firefighters are on their scene trying to put this out as quickly as possible. When we've got more information for you, I'll be bringing you a live report on that. In addition to that, you're also taking a look down in the corner, you're seeing out in France. President Donald Trump has been visiting with the G7 summit. A lot to talk about. We'll tell you a little bit more about this deal with Iran that he says that we've reached. I heard just before I came on to this live stream with you guys that maybe both sides have already signed it and it may already be in effect. Now, we'll talk about what's in that deal in just a little bit. And in addition to that, you're also taking a look. We now know the suspect accused of walking into a hospital in Wilmington, Delaware, opening fire and killing one person. And that is where we meet Shawnette Wilson, one of our reporters. Shawnette, you covered this live. You got us all the information that you could, and now we know the person they believe did this. What are you learning about them and the situation?
Hi, Judea. So we're kind of tag teaming on this today. Our coworker, Greg Payne, was on this on the day shift today. So we're kind of picking up where he left off. But we were able to find out today that the suspected gunman is 23-year-old John Wallace Bay. He lives in the Newcastle area and, not far from where this shooting happened. Sources told Fox 29 that he is an intern or was an intern here at the hospital. Sources telling us that he was let go from his internship on Tuesday. And then, now we know that the shooting just happened yesterday. And again, he was arrested last night. He's been charged with murder and facing other charges. This all stems from this shooting that happened here at the hospital behind me at the Wilmington campus of Christiana Care yesterday, just after 3 o'clock. We were alerted to a shooting here inside the hospital. We know that the victims both are 19 years old. One of them is in the hospital still in critical but stable condition. The other victim, 19 years old, we found out yesterday, has died. So we're still, again, today trying to work sources and information, and we're kind of at the mercy of authorities here now that they have a suspect in custody to learn more from them about, exactly what led up to this. Again, sources were telling us that he was an intern and had been let go, but we are certainly waiting for confirmation from police. They have not released the identities of the two victims as of yet. They're continuing to say with respect for those families who are dealing with this tragedy that has happened. The arrest of Bay came late last night. Police telling us that he was arrested in Philadelphia hours after this hospital shooting. The hospital, as you recall, was on lockdown. A part of it was evacuated as people just kind of gathered here and waited to learn more about what happened. Late last night, once word surfaced that the suspected gunman, Bay, John Wallace Bay, was in custody, the hospital did release a statement saying that they were back open, that it was safe and secure with no ongoing threat to patients and staff here. They also credited staff here at the hospital last night, and that praise continued today, crediting the staff for dealing with this, for continuing to do their jobs and keeping, patients safe, treating them, and also keeping them informed about what was going on here during what was a very chaotic situation here. So again, just to recap, what we have learned today is that the suspect is 23-year-old John Wallace Bay from Newcastle area. He was arrested last night in Philadelphia. We also know that he was arraigned in court in Philly today. Greg Payne, as I mentioned, our colleague, had a chance to go out to his neighborhood earlier today and talk to neighbors. Here's what one of them had to say about this news.
I'm just complete shock that it happened. Like, I would have never thought in a million years that something would happen so close to home.
All right, so shocking to many people. I mean, these are people who live nearby the suspect, some of them telling us that, he lives at home with his parents in that neighborhood. But that's the extent of what we know. Again, he was arraigned today, awaiting extradition back here to face those charges. And we're told as long as, he doesn't waive extradition, he could be back in court, Judea, on June 29th. But behind me, it's very quiet here at the hospital. We've been out here since maybe close to 5 o'clock, and it has just been very quiet. I mean, not a lot of foot traffic. We've been seeing, workers kind of come and go, but just, eerily quiet to me, and people just coming and going. I did see someone leave the hospital, and I had a chance to ask them off camera, what they were doing there today. It was a man and a woman. They said that they were actually visiting someone who's a patient there. I asked what was the feeling in there, and they said that it seemed normal, that there were no different rules or, procedures to follow as a result of what happened yesterday. It is just quiet, and they are back to business of trying to do what they should have been doing yesterday without interruption, which was treating patients rather. So again, the other victim, critical but stable condition. The other 19-year-old passed away, Judea.
Shawnette, thank you for breaking this down for us. Our audience in the comment section, they already started out with questions. A lot of them we don't have answers to at this point in time. If you don't mind, I'll read them anyway. Someone asked, did we know where he got the weapon from, who bought the weapon? That's not something that has been stated or shared publicly. I know yesterday a lot of people wanted to know what the motive would have been in this situation. Again, we're hearing rumors, we're hearing sources tell us different things, but officials haven't come out and said any of that just yet. You being the reporter, you were getting out there trying to get some more information for us. Hopefully you can bring us some more later on. But are there any big questions that even you still have and you're hoping to get answers to soon?
For me, we always in these situations want to know, more about the victims. Who are they? Certainly everyone involved in this, from the suspected gunman to the two victims, are young. The suspected gunman, 23 years old. The victim who passed away, 19 years old. The one in the hospital in critical but stable condition, 19 years old. So what led up to this deadly shooting? As you mentioned, sources are telling us just that the suspected gunman was an intern and was let go the day before. But what was the relationship between him and the two victims? That's what we would like to know. I mean, you always want to know about, the person who lost their life. Like what could have been the reason to do something like this? Police have definitely clarified, though, that this was a targeted and isolated situation. So as of last night, they were saying, no one else was in danger. Targeted and isolated is what they use. Those were the words they used. So, what we get from that is that the victims were the intended target. For what reason, we don't know. Again, since the suspect is in custody right now, I feel like it's going to be just some time before we get any more information from police. Certainly the process of a hearing or extradition, has to happen. So I'm not really confident that we're going to learn anything new today. The most important thing for them was that, they had a suspect in custody last night. I think the rest just is going to have to play out in court, and we are just going to have to wait that process out. I thought, because oftentimes, Judea, when we come back to a scene, like the next day, people, will be talking more, and it just isn't that today. And it's a hospital. Like, we're not out here every day, so I don't know what the traffic volume is like, but it's a hospital. We certainly expect that there are people coming and going at any hospital at any given time throughout the day, and we just have not seen much of that at all. So we didn't get what we thought we were going to get, out here. I also feel like, with respect to the people who work here, certainly we have a job to do, but these are people who were here yesterday and are back at work today, and I'm positive still dealing with the trauma of what happened yesterday, but still having to 100% focus on their job. So, perhaps they just want to come and go today, as they also still wait for more information.
And I completely understand that. Any normal person would still be trying to process everything that's going on. But still, I'm really happy for the way that you've been able to keep us up to date with everything that's going on. I think we were all shocked when we got that arrest and got that notification in last night. The officials did tell us that they were on the case and that they were confident that they would be making that arrest within the evening. But still, when we all got it here in the newsroom, a big shock.
And you know what? I think another big question, too, for people is how did he get out of here? How did he get out of here from Wilmington, Delaware to Philadelphia, where he was arrested? And this is not me making a judgment on the investigation or police. I think that it's just a natural question, and other people have asked the question as well. Like, how did that happen? Like late into the evening, when it started to spread that, the hospital was clear, that and law enforcement had cleared this property, meaning that they went through every possible space, the parking garages, and they were confident that, the suspect was no longer here. And then the lockdown was lifted. People were scratching their heads, like, with, the response that was here, and as hard as they were working, how did he get out of here? So that is also another big question, since you asked that, what was I wondering, and other people were talking about all last night as well.
Yeah, I mean, how he got out of the hospital, and yes, how he was able to get out of Delaware into the Philadelphia area. Shawnette, again, thank you so much for bringing us everything that you've been able to on this report. We'll see you later on tonight. Beautiful job. I see another question in here. Someone said, did they release the victims' names? This is so sad. No, they have not released the victims' identities. The only thing that they have told us that they are both 19 years old. If you want to know more information about this story, I'll certainly keep talking about it right here on Philadelphia Live between 7 to 10 p.m. hours. But also, you can head to the free Fox Local app or fox29.com, because we've got plenty of articles already up there available for you to read. Now, I want to take a quick look out at Cape May. It is a gorgeous day out in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware area. While we are talking about heavy news, I also want to keep you up to date on everything that's going on with your weather forecast, and that's where our Scott Williams joins us, our meteorologist of the hour. Scott, what's going on out there?
Hey there, good evening, Judea. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, temperatures today made it into the 80s, above average for Philadelphia. And if you stepped outdoors, you noticed it was a little warmer. It was also a little more in the way of the humidity out there as well. So that has begun to creep up. And then temperatures tomorrow, believe it or not, will be topping out in the 90s, but 86 degrees, the official high temperature today. That's 2 degrees above where we should be for this time of year. Wilmington made it to 82 degrees. It was 84 in Reading. Atlantic City at the airport, 82, and low 80s in Trenton, along with Allentown in the Lehigh Valley. Now, we had a few isolated showers, mainly in Bucks County, Mercer County, into areas of the Lehigh Valley this evening, but the main event, that's the front well to the north and west of us, moving through the Great Lakes, bringing with it some severe weather. Reports of active tornado warnings as well through parts of Wisconsin and Illinois. For us tomorrow, we have a slight risk of some severe thunderstorms. Tornado threat is low, not no for tomorrow. I think the main threat will be some damaging wind gusts as that system progresses in our area, especially late morning into tomorrow afternoon. Now, in terms of that hour-by-hour forecast, starting the clock at noon, moving through the afternoon, you can see some of those scattered showers north and west after lunchtime. Then it looks like South Jersey down the shore could get hit moving toward 3, 4, 5 o'clock as that front's going to be moving pretty rapidly. Winds are going to be gusting out ahead of it, 30 to 40 miles per hour out of the south and west. Will warm up into the upper 80s to low 90s. So as you move farther to the north and the west, you have just a marginal risk for some severe storms. The best bet would be, of course, South Jersey, Philadelphia, the I-95 corridor, and the immediate north and west suburbs, moving into Chester County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, as well as Bucks County. Scale of 1 to 5. It is a level 2. Right now we have a few showers north of Allentown, moving through sections of the Poconos and Northampton County. Those temperatures currently still low 80s in Philadelphia at 82 degrees. Temperatures for the Poconos right now at 73 degrees, low 70s in Cape May, upper 70s currently in Wilmington, Exton, as well as for Doylestown. So a pretty comfortable evening, but temperatures not as cool as the prior overnights. Will bottom out upper 60s to around 70 degrees for most locations. That's actually above average. Average low for Philadelphia, 65 degrees, will be at 71. Look at the forecast for tomorrow with those temperatures soaring out ahead of that cold front. The average high is 84 degrees. Will be in the low 90s likely for interior South Jersey, Philadelphia, the I-95 corridor, even around 90. Places like Reading, Doylestown, Allentown, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. That's tomorrow. Then for Friday, 8:30 kickoff at the Philadelphia Stadium, Brazil versus Haiti. Temperatures low 80s. Moving into the 70s during the game. Lower humidity. Friday evening is going to be comfortable and refreshing, so dry conditions expected at the Philadelphia Stadium. Down the shore, those afternoon, evening pop-up storms for Thursday. High temperatures will top out in the mid-80s. Then Friday, morning clouds giving way to sun. A pair of 7s looking pretty good. A nice sunny Father's Day weekend. Saturday, 81 degrees, water temperatures still chilly in the 60s. So that 7-day forecast from the Weather Authority shows a gusty storm late tomorrow morning into the afternoon, low 90s. Temperatures for Juneteenth, the World Cup on Friday, mid 80s, and then we're in the upper 80s. Look at this. For Father's Day itself, 88 degrees. Summer officially begins Sunday morning as well, and then temperatures low 80s for next Monday, and it looks like the threat for some scattered showers and some storms moving back into the picture for Monday. So we're going to be watching that. Then mid to upper 80s Tuesday, Wednesday. I want to mention, of course, Tropical Storm Arthur. That's the first named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season. Not organized whatsoever. Not going to intensify. It's actually over land, that center of circulation. Movement north-northeast, 7 miles per hour right now. And you can see most of the showers and thunderstorms are well out to sea. So Texas not seeing a lot of rain from the system right now. But most of that is going to be moving into portions of Louisiana. You can see some of those cells are moving inland just to the west of New Orleans, moving toward Baton Rouge. Also as you get toward Alexandria, Louisiana, but this is going to be weakening inland that center of circulation. So once again, first named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season is Arthur. Max sustained winds at 45 miles per hour. Movement north-northeast at 7 miles per hour. Will be moving likely through Houston, that center of circulation, but once again, not a lot of rainfall around the center of circulation. Most of that convection is well out into the open waters of the Gulf, but tropical storm warnings have been posted for the Texas coast into portions of the Louisiana coast as we continue monitoring some of that tropical moisture. But right now it looks like most of the impacts will be felt off to the east of that center of circulation through portions of Louisiana. So we're going to be monitoring that. But yeah, we are in hurricane season. It started June 1st. It continues right through the end of November. So we have a long way to go, but El Nino is going to be strong this year. And of course, with an El Nino, you get a lot of wind shear, and that typically helps to limit the number of storms that develop. But even though it's expected to be a below average hurricane season, it only takes one to make for a bad year. And even sometimes we have these weak tropical storms, they're not that strong, but they dump a lot of rainfall. And flooding, of course, is a natural disaster, and it can be a major loss of life. Judea, back over to you.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about the flooding, the very first thing that came to mind for me, remember the Kerr County flooding in Texas I think a year or two or so ago?
The camp that flooded?
Camp Mystic,
yes.
Yeah. So my mind immediately goes there, and then also I'm thinking about, I hear you say the storm will weaken as it gets closer inland. Dallas Stadium, that's where we're going to be going next with our Asher Red. It seems that it's not going to affect that part of Texas, though, or at least if we didn't get any rain.
Most of the rain and convection is actually to the east of that center of circulation. It's actually even pretty dry this evening in places like Galveston and Houston. Now, they saw some tropical moisture from this system earlier in the week, but as it got its name, so to speak, it kind of moved all of that rainfall into the Gulf as well as into portions of Louisiana. But most of that rain is going to stay well away from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So that is certainly good news.
I've got one last question for you, Scott, while I have you, just because I'm curious. You know, I'm coming up here from Atlanta, and typically when we have a really bad storm, you've got a lot of rain, then it gets super duper hot. I know you look at the forecast up here in the Northeast, but is that a potential issue for fans who are going to different games and matches? Could it be really hot after that storm leaves?
Well, I mean, it will, of course, produce a lot of humidity. So once that rain leaves the area, it may dry out, but it's left a lot of humidity in the atmosphere. Those dew points will be increasing. That's the measure of moisture in the atmosphere. So anytime those dew points move above 60, it starts to feel muggy, but that is tropical moisture. So we're talking about dew points really climbing into the 70s. So once that sun comes back out, I mean, it is really going to feel oppressive when you factor in all of that tropical moisture and that sun comes out and starts to heat things up, but you still have that low level moisture. So it's going to be quite hot after that storm leaves portions of the south.
Yeah, oppressive heat sounds crazy. Scott, thank you so much for our forecast out there. I hate it for our southern folks, but up here it seems like we're doing a little bit better. We'll be checking in for our forecast a little later on as well. Meanwhile, let's take it on down south. We're going to meet up with Asher Red from Fox News, giving us a live report outside of Dallas Stadium. As you all know, England played Croatia, so we'll be getting into it when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. You're taking a live look at Philadelphia Stadium as well as Dallas Stadium. So, of course, today, New England took on Croatia for a big match. It's interesting because England and Croatia actually were renewing their kind of like beef. They've had a rivalry, and they got back to it today in Texas. And I heard just about an hour ago the match ended with England on top, which is so interesting because England actually was favored to win this whole thing. So I want to bring things out to Asher Red from Fox News, who's live for us right outside the stadium. Asher, even though the game is already wrapped up, I'm hearing music and whatnot behind you. Party's still going on. What actually happened today?
Yeah, Judea, everyone who's still out here is having a great time. The after party of the game is what they're calling it. Will end in about 35 minutes or so. And even before the game, it was just a sea of people out here, not just England and Croatia fans, but fans from all over. There were fans for Mexico. There were fans for Team Jordan, Iran. I even saw a fan who was here from South Korea who wanted to come to the U.S. and just see what the World Cup was all about. And this game was quite electrifying. We knew when something big was going on because we could hear it from inside all the way out here. And, you know, English fans are generally pretty loud and a lot louder than most other arenas that I've ever been in. And look, I went to an SEC college. I know what it's like being in a very loud stadium, and I think that might have topped it. Now, these two teams have only faced off once before, and that was in 2018, once before for the World Cup, that is, and Croatia was the underdog back then too, but England lost that game. Croatia beat them 2-1 and secured their first ever World Cup finals position. And tonight, Croatia fans were hoping that they could pull off that another upset just like they did in 2018. It just didn't happen. Instead, it went into halftime, tied at 2-2, and then you had England scored very early in the second half, bringing that score to 3-2, and later in the second half with that final score being 4-2. England's walking away with a win under their belt. Croatia's walking away with their heads hung low. Judea?
I hate that for them. Right before the match, I know you were out talking to the people. What were they guessing or estimating would be the end score? Obviously, you just told us it was 4-2, but what were they thinking?
Yeah, well, if you asked an England fan what they thought the score was going to be, most of them told me that Croatia wouldn't even get on the scoreboard. And the game actually ended up being a little harder for England than that because Croatia hung in there for, of course, the first half, and the second half came, they didn't score at all. Croatian fans, however, when you asked them for their score prediction, they thought it was going to be a tight game, tighter than it was. They thought maybe 2-1 Croatia would win, but that's not how it happened. It wasn't going to be the upset they were hoping for.
Yikes. Again, I hate that for them, but, you know, love it for us as we continue to watch some of our biggest teams play one another. Just out of curiosity, I don't know how into soccer or football you are, but is there anybody you really hope walks away with it all?
Yeah, I know absolutely nothing about soccer, if I'm going to be honest. Like, this is my first ever soccer game. I played soccer when I was 6 years old, and I quit because I was scared of the other team's goalie because he was wearing the color red. And my last name is Red. I shouldn't be scared of that color, but that was a 6-year-old thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm here now. And actually, I think it's pretty cool because I've been watching, there's a TV right off the camera over here, and I've been watching World Cup games the entire time they've had them playing. So it's actually pretty fascinating. I might have to start getting into this, but I can see why people think this is such a fun sport, and a lot of it is driven by the fans. The fan interaction, the energy that the fans have when they're in the stands and outside the stadium too.
It has been so much fun getting to check in with each one of you Fox News reporters as you guys have gotten to experience, like, literally all over the country what's going on there. So again, guys, this has been Asher reporting for us all the way from Texas, but we're going to bring things back to Philadelphia. Asher, thank you. Oh my gosh, I know he's having a good time out there. Our reporters have been going to the FIFA Fan Fest here in Philadelphia and Philadelphia Stadium to get to see some of fans from all across the world really come in and enjoy themselves. This Friday on Juneteenth, we're expecting to see some Brazil fans as well as some Haitian fans. And we actually have somebody in the comment section who says Brazil will be the champion. You sound confident. You sound very confident. Interestingly enough, Uber actually, Jake Leonard had to tell me about this. Uber has a whole thing going on right now where if you guess who's going to lose, you can get 20% off. Is it 20 or 30%? 30% off of a ride. It's just they have to be, I think, once they lose that team that you picked, then you'll get that discount. Uber is so messy, but I love to see it. All right, you guys, we got a lot more coming up for you. We're going to check in with our very own sports team. Again, I mentioned a lot of stuff happening right now in our area very soon. We'll see what's going on when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. We're taking a live look at Citizens Bank Park, which is where the Phils usually play. Earlier today, we had a big game, and unfortunately, we did not come out on top. Miami Marlins beat us. They got 12. We only put up 4. Not a great game at all, but it was part of a series where we were doing fairly well. We won 2 games right before this one. I want to bring things out to our sports teams. Breland Moore. Breland, I understand you were also paying attention to the game. They made a big announcement after that crushing loss. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, Andrew Painter has been, for lack of a better word, just awful. To be it's been quite a challenging season for him. He is a rookie, so he was the touted prospect this year. Everyone's eyes were on Andrew Painter, hoping that he would be potentially a difference maker here in Philadelphia, and it just clearly is not it. 7.06 ERA for him, and he's 1-8 overall so far this season. He's just not off to a good start, and today it was just off the rails from the rip. 6 earned runs off of 6 hits. He was pulled after just 2 innings of work. And as you can see, their unbelievable result here, just getting absolutely blown out at Citizens Bank Park. Now, luckily, they did still win the series, as you mentioned, Judea, because they did win those first 2 games. But this has been a problem for Painter the entire time. After the game, Don Mattingly, who's the interim manager, said, yeah, we'll see how things go, basically, when asked if Painter was going to be making his next couple of starts. And then immediately after that press conference, basically, the Phillies announced that they had optioned him to AAA, which is basically demoting him down to the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. Hopefully the game slows down for him a little bit and he can figure out what in the world is going on there. But if he can't get this together, it is bad news bears for the Phils. Remember, he is the prospect that they protected. He's the prospect that they refused to trade because he had such a high ceiling and a high potential. And 1-8 in mid-June at this point is certainly not high potential prospect material when it comes to his record. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But he was horrendous today.
And I joked with you during the commercial break. That's not the first time that I've heard somebody say that today. So it clearly, it's like, a feeling that a lot of people have. Now, with the whole option thing, is this kind of like an improvement plan that they might put you on at work? Does this mean if he does a really good job, they could put him back on the real team? Or
that's actually a really good way of phrasing it. It basically is like your improvement plan at work, that you're clearly not up to par. And yeah, getting demoted to AAA, like I said, it might slow the game down a little bit. It might allow him to just kind of work things out, whatever it is, whether it's a mental issue. I don't really know what's going on, but he's got to get it together. If he does not, then I don't really know what the Phils are going to have to do. They're going to have to move him at some point because he's an active liability at this point. I'm not going to lie to you. It's atrocious.
Yeah, well, it's insane to think about how you go from the 2 games beforehand where we were kind of crushing it with the Marlins to seeing 12-4 today. Yeah.
That's what I mean. This pitching staff is unbelievable. You've got the likes of Christopher Sanchez, you've got Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola. The 4th inning still be getting him here and there, let's be honest. But for the most part, Aaron Nola does have his moments, and Jesus Luzardo has started putting some great games together as well. This is your liability in your starting lineup here, your starting pitching rotation, and it's a massive liability to know that when you go out there, it's going to be a loss. And that's kind of how fans have been taking it now. Whenever he comes up in the rotation, it's, oh, well, that's a loss, but we'll win the other 2 or we'll win the other 3. You just kind of can't have that if you have World Series aspirations, and that's where this team is at this point. They expect to make the postseason. They expect to have a deep run. That's what they're aiming for. They're aiming for a World Series, and this roster can do it, but you can't have somebody putting up performances like that. No way.
All right. Well, tomorrow they'll take things to the New York Mets, or at least the New York Mets will come our way for a home game. I'm not a Mets fan. I know a couple of my coworkers are, but how are we expecting to do against them?
We'll see. It's a division game. It's always a great rivalry to see. So we will see how that goes. But certainly going to be interesting now. Like I said, that Painter is out. What do they do about that spot? Remains to be seen. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, definitely an interesting little shakeup there after the game today.
All right, well, let's look forward to FIFA World Cup. So we obviously know England just cleared Croatia. Crazy game, crazy match.
Yeah, and there have been some really interesting matchups. Now, this 4-2 final that you get out of England and Croatia does not tell the full story. That game was tied at 2 each going into halftime. And the Portugal-Congo game, Congo scoring their very first World Cup game, or scoring their very first World Cup goal ever, and draw against Portugal. It's a 1-1 draw. That's unbelievable. Portugal has a phenom in Cristiano Ronaldo, and to be able to pull a draw on that is unbelievable. And like I said, England was also knotted at the half. They ended up coming back and scoring 2 there in that second half of the game. But there have been some really, really interesting matchups and interesting results. I believe that Portugal game was the 9th draw that we have seen so far in the World Cup, and some of these heavyweight champion caliber teams are kind of getting pushed a little bit by some of these underdogs, and it's really been fascinating to see. I'm really curious to see what happens here in some of these later games. Spain is another one that drew as well. So yeah, it's been a very, very interesting competition cycle that I don't think a lot of people expected.
Let us know that these guys did not come all the way to the USA to play around. Even if they might be the seed that's not expected to go all of the way, they want to play as hard as they can and make their countries proud. It kind of reminds me of the Olympic Games. Right now, Ghana's facing Panama, and it also looks like nobody scored just yet. We've got that score up on the screen for our folks. And if you don't mind, let's look ahead. On Friday, Juneteenth, we're expecting to see it's going to be Brazil facing Haiti. Are you excited for that at all?
Yeah, Brazil obviously is a really great team, and I haven't completely delved in and done my research on how these two stack up just yet. Full disclosure, I'm waiting to do research because the Christian Pulisic injury for the United States is a huge thing. We'll have more information on that tomorrow, so I kind of just set everything to the side, and I'm like, we'll do Friday's prep work on Thursday when we know more information about where Christian Pulisic stands and whether or not he's going to be playing against Australia, which is also another great matchup. But I think Brazil obviously is the favorite going in there, but who knows? We've seen so many interesting results here so far already that I never really know what to expect, but I do know that both of those fan bases are electric, and we're going to have a time. A time will be had down at the Link, or Philadelphia Stadium. I refuse to call it Philadelphia Stadium. It's the Link. I don't even call Twitter by its government name. It's still Twitter to me. So, you're not beating that out of me. It's still the Link. And just the Ecuador and Ivory Coast matchup was unbelievable. So I'm sure that this is going to be as electric, if not even more so, down at the Link in South Philadelphia this coming Friday.
Oh, Breland, that's actually a great segue because, as you mentioned, there will be a time had. And just in case anybody who's just coming to the USA for the first time or coming to Philadelphia for the first time, there is so much you guys can get into. Our Chris O'Connell actually took a look at what people are calling their bucket list once they get here to Philadelphia. I want to let you listen in to what some of the fans said.
The Brazilians have arrived in Philly with World Cup fever. For many international visitors, the first stop on the Philly bucket list tour, lunch at Reading Terminal Market, and of course, cheesesteaks on the menu.
We visited here. That's one of the places is on the list. We're gonna go to start off Balboa.
The Rocky statue.
Rock statue. And
of course.
We'll go to the Rock State.
The Rocky statue?
Yeah, Rock statue.
Apparently, everyone knows Rocky. Even at the Liberty Bell, these Brazilian fans had their own version of the Rocky theme song in Portuguese. I'm running the Rocky steps with a Brazilian fan. Let's do it. After all, what would a trip to Philly be without running the 72 steps of the art museum just like Rocky did? A highlight stop for the Osorio family from Brazil.
I think it's a very welcoming city, the city of brotherly love, of course, but I've seen a very welcoming opportunity here, a very good community, and all the infrastructure for tourists has been awesome as well. The transport is awesome, and the food is great as well.
And they may be tourists, but they've already been warned about the Rocky curse.
I really hope that people don't put anything on the statue.
So don't put the Brazilian kit on Rocky. Another must-stop for tourists, Love Park. The Viana brothers, traveling with their father, came to see Brazil play on Friday. They came for soccer. They're staying for the newfound love of Philly.
The people are always happy and smiling, and everybody's so kind and warm, and the vibe of the city is so amazing.
To be honest, this is the most beautiful city I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I really loving this city.
Aww, it's the most beautiful city you've ever seen. You're gonna make us blush. We love seeing you guys have so much fun. We're excited to see more of you Brazilian fans, you Haitian fans coming out here to have a good time. And there is so much you can get into. But while we're talking about FIFA, one thing I want to make sure that we talk about too is parking. We're hearing that it kind of has been a nightmare, whether you're going to a FIFA Fan Fest or whether you're planning on going to a match itself. So I was hearing that people in the Fairmount area, residents specifically, are facing tickets. They also say that they've had their cars towed at Fan Fest, even though they made sure they got a permit ahead of time. So this is in the Lemon Hill area. A lot of people trying to get out, have a good time. But then again, those residents who are just parking because they live here, now saying that they may have to pay some extra money or just coming back to see that ugly ticket on their car. A lot of people say they weren't expecting this. Now, Philadelphia Parking Authority does say some of those tickets were written in error, and if your ticket was in error, it should be canceled and you should have those fees refunded. But, you know, I just want to make sure you guys are aware that this is something that's happening. And we're hearing that maybe some fans in South Philly who have been trying to get out to the matches or maybe parking their car a little bit of ways away from Philadelphia Stadium may have been having the same issue. So we'll have a report on that just a little later on. But again, for you fans who are looking for something to do to enjoy the city of brotherly love, right now we've got a live look at Dining Under the Stars. This is a great initiative if you want to just taste some new foods, meet new people. As you can see, a lot of folks are already out and about this particular area. They close off the streets and they just have a good time. They are serving all types of international dishes from about 24 different restaurants. Happens every single Wednesday. It started in May. It goes through September. So if you are just joining our area and you're trying to figure out something to do and you decided to join me here on Philadelphia Live, maybe head down to State Street, try a meal or two, and talk to the people around you. We're friendly-ish, you know, definitely friendly to our visitors. We'd like to get to meet you and get to know you. We got a whole lot more coming up for you guys. As I mentioned, we're going to have that report, just seeing how things are going in the South Philly area with parking. We'll have a report on that from our Dawn Timoney when we come back. Hey guys, welcome back to Philadelphia Live, but you're taking a live look out in France where Air Force One is getting ready to take off. President Donald Trump, of course, has been at the G7 summit for the last couple of days. He had a dinner with the French President Macron before he decided to board the flight. He will be back in the U.S. and hopefully we'll be able to talk to him a little bit more about what this deal with Iran is all about, what it entails. Keep in mind that in just a little bit right here on Philadelphia Live, we'll be going over some of the bullet points that we're hearing as part of that deal in a memorandum that was released today. But let's bring things back to FIFA. We've been going FIFA crazy here at Fox 29, especially you fans in the Philadelphia area. But I'm also hearing that the parking authority may have been going kind of crazy too. I just told you about some tickets and some towing that was happening in the Lemon Hill neighborhood to residents. We got a notification that it might have been happening in the South Philadelphia area too. And that's where Dawn Timoney meets us. Dawn, when we got that information from a viewer, we definitely wanted to investigate it. What did you find when you got out there?
Well, I think people just aren't used to FIFA being here, and so they're not prepared. And the area around Oregon between 10th and 11th, there are signs that say permit parking only during stadium events. All other vehicles will be towed. But for residents who live in that area, they're thinking Eagles and Phillies, and some of them just really weren't thinking FIFA. They didn't have soccer on the brain. Now, other folks realized what was happening and got organized. But if we can show you some video, basically, it's hard to find a parking spot in South Philadelphia in this area on a good day. So then imagine if there's an Eagles game or a FIFA soccer game. And like I said, there are signs, and residents are given these placards that they hang from their rear view mirror that show that they live in the neighborhood so they won't get towed. They always put them out for Eagles games. Some people weren't thinking, oh, geez, I need to put this out for FIFA. Others didn't have them and just thought they were okay to park, and they weren't, and they got towed. We talked to one doctor's office who was ahead of the 8 ball. They knew, and so they're closing early this coming Monday, and then also on Thursday. There's going to be 2 FIFA games in Philly, and so they're closing early because their patients obviously don't have these permit parking placards, and a lot of the people who work in this doctor's office also don't. So they're just closing. The woman who emailed us, she did not have a placard, and she just didn't realize that she needed one. And so she learned the hard way. $175 ticket. She had to go to impound to get her car. She said it was, there were tons and tons of people in her exact same boat. I did talk to the Philadelphia Parking Authority, and they said they don't start enforcing until 5 hours before the game and 1 hour after. So people should know that if they're parking in a permit parking only when it's a stadium event, that 5 hours before the soccer game and an hour after the soccer game, they cannot be parked there. So it was kind of a hard lesson. This lady didn't have the permit she needed, and she was not aware that she couldn't park there because she wasn't thinking FIFA, So anyway, that's kind of the situation.
Mm-hmm. I hope that, even though this is horrible for her, and I'm sorry that she has to eat those costs, but I hope her story is like a tale of time for anybody else who might be thinking that they can park in the area. Hopefully they hear this and they know, nope, just go ahead and leave the car at home. Maybe either take a ride share or, public transportation.
And I think people like FIFA, like we're like so into FIFA, and soccer fans are into FIFA. If you're not a soccer fan, she just was thinking, like all the people who live in this residential area by the stadium, they know come Eagles time, you better not park there, or you better have the right sticker or the proper placard. So they were just kind of caught off guard. And it is a good reminder. I will say that we did talk to a couple of residents, and they said they realized, that they were wrong, but they wish that the city maybe had sent out leaflets or flyers, just reminding them, hey, FIFA's going to be in town, and this is event stadium parking on days where there are games, so they would know. But again, it is clearly marked permit parking only during stadium events.
Yeah, and clearly they're taking it very seriously. We'll see you again tonight. I know that we've been having some interesting times for our shows. Do we have a 10 o'clock tonight?
I think we're on from 10:30 to 11, I think.
Okay, well, we'll
or 10
see
to 10:30. I'm not sure.
We'll see you at some point tonight.
Okay.
Our viewers can stay tuned.
Exactly.
On the
After
Facebook
soccer.
app. Yes, after soccer. We'll have a report for you guys. Just now you know. Don't park in that area unless you got the placard. Dawn, thank you so much. I want to bring you guys out to, oh no, did we just lose it? Darn it. Okay, I'll just walk you through what we were seeing. This huge dust storm in the Phoenix area. So you've probably heard of monsoons. When I think of a monsoon, I think of rain and a lot of water, but I'm hearing that in Arizona, they've got this thing going on. They actually call it haboob. They'll have light sprinkles, but a lot of dust picking up, a lot of dust devils. And then what I was just going to bring you out to, it was like a wave of just dust flying over the city. So they're well aware of this. They were well prepared for this, got our viewers in our Phoenix area ready for everything that's happening. Again, they know that this comes with monsoon season for them. But it's been really interesting seeing some videos coming in from their viewers. One person was actually on their porch showing off some big hailstorm and stones that were bouncing off of the area that she lives in. We also see further south in Casa Grande. Oh, we did just get it back up. Okay, it looks like the image that I was going to show you before, it was like a lot worse than this. This, I would say, is a calmed down vanilla version of what we were looking at, but still you can see just how many dust particles have picked up into the air and how it's traveling fairly quickly. I believe that this is one of our Skyfox the helicopters available for us. This is KSAZ giving us this live image that you guys are taking a look at. Again, this is monsoon season for them. They say they knew that it was going to be like this, but it's just wild, I would say, for us seeing something like this. A lot of you probably remember reading about the Dust Bowl, or maybe seeing old videos and what's the word I'm looking for? Movies, the films where they'll talk to people, documentaries, a lot of documentaries about it. So it's kind of wild to see it in our day and age. But yeah, that's what's going on there. If I learn a little bit more information, I'll try to bring you guys back out to it, especially if it gets even any worse. As you can see, from time to time, you'll see the helicopter come down with the shot, and then they'll bring it back up for us too. So when we've got more information, we'll try to bring you out there live. Still got a lot of news ahead for you all. We talked about all things FIFA World Cup, but I know you also want to get into what's going on in the White House. So President Donald Trump, he says that we've got this deal with Iran. He also says that it's actually been signed and should be in effect right now. So what does it actually entail? We'll get into it when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray, right up Jake Leonard to the desk.
Hey.
Hey, this can only mean one thing. We are talking about what Philly's talking about. I want to know all the things. What's going on out there?
Yeah, so I actually have some sad news from the entertainment world.
Okay.
So today it was reported that DeVay Chase has passed away. So at first I didn't know who that was, looked into it a lot. She voiced Lilo in the original Lilo and Stitch, and also she was Samara in The Ring in 2002.
Talk about range.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I know. It's really sad. She was only 35 and she passed away. She had meningitis and a blood infection, and she she developed septic issues, and then her body shut down. Yes.
35 years old. Wow. So I'm just going to be honest with you all. I didn't know that much about meningitis. I didn't know that was something that could really take you out the game like that. Are we seeing anybody respond, talk about the
So yes, so this originally came out as a TMZ exclusive a couple hours ago, and since then TMZ has kind of been posting more information. Some of her friends have come out, Sadly, they're saying that she wasn't doing good in the months leading up to her passing. She apparently was MIA. They were looking for her. At one point, they were actually looking for her along Skid Row in LA. So it's just a really sad story that happened. We see this happen a lot with child stars, unfortunately, and the industry isn't particularly kind to them. So it's just really sad to see her kind of fall into the same pattern and go through something that a lot of other child stars unfortunately have to endure in Hollywood.
And with these child stars, especially with someone like her, it's hard to think how much happiness and how big of a part of our childhood she really was.
Seriously.
As the voice of Lilo, I could probably quote the entire movie.
I know,
we love Lilo.
I know, it's really, really sad. She, like you said, her range, but she really had an amazing range. Her two most famous roles are literally polar opposites.
But everybody knows both.
Yes, exactly. So my
really
thoughts,
sorry to hear that,
yes, my thoughts are with her family and her friends, and I hope they're doing okay. So.
Well, thank you for bringing that to us. Some other things that I want to get into, if we could take a look out at Philadelphia Stadium. We have been talking about the Fan Fest and FIFA World Cup all day long, and that's because a lot of big, heavy-hitting games are happening. I also talked to you guys about how, interestingly enough, we're seeing some issues with parking, whether you were trying to go to FIFA Fan Fest or maybe you were trying to park and go to Philadelphia Stadium. We're hearing that people have been ticketed, people have been towed, while in the Fan Fest area, that was because it was an accident, and that the parking authority has admitted to that and said that they would void those tickets, or any fees would be refunded. But we're hearing in the South Philly neighborhood, that's just because people didn't have the placards.
Yeah.
But bringing a lot of people to FIFA Fan Fest.
Yes.
Games, food, a lot of fun. We've been seeing our reporters get
Yes,
out there.
I still haven't gotten to go yet, but I want to so bad. It looks awesome, and everyone that goes, they're literally saying Soccer Coachella. So I feel like I have to check it out.
Soccer Coachella. I was trying to get tickets to go, well, I can't go Friday, but Saturday or maybe Sunday just afterwards, because maybe still some of the Brazilian fans and Haitian fans would still be out there.
Lingering.
But I tried to go on the website, couldn't get a ticket. But Fan Fest actually brings us to tonight's question of the night. So I heard from one of our reporters that apparently they're offering volunteers $20 an hour to clean up. That doesn't sound like a bad gig to me, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, so we wanted to hear from you, the people. So we ran a poll, Fox29/go vote, always under the Fox Local tab. And so we just posed the question, would you help clean up after FIFA Fan Fest for $20 an hour? So yes, definitely in the lead, 67%, 67, and then no way, a little bit behind, 33%. So also we post this on all our social media, so Facebook, X, Instagram, and we have a couple people weighing in. Jesse says yes, for cash. Jonathan says yes. D says, and I agree with this, you should always clean up your own mess when you leave. That's just common courtesy. That makes me think of the Japan team. Did you see them cleaning?
I did.
Yes, I thought that was such a cool thing to do.
And I heard that this isn't their first time doing
No.
this either. This is, I don't know if it's just a cultural thing or just the whole team has manners, but I see that when they go somewhere, they want to leave it better than the way they found it.
That is such a cool thing, and I think we definitely could take notes from that. But
yeah, we sure could.
back to FIFA Fan Fest. What do you think?
Would I do it for $20?
Yes.
Well, no. But I do agree with just cleaning up after yourself.
Yes. I think this is a great opportunity for maybe like people that are having a hard time finding a job, you know, maybe people that are on summer break. This would be, I think, a great way to make money. You get to go see FIFA Fan Fest, obviously helping clean up, like that's great, you know, get rid of all the trash. My only concern with it would be the heat. You know, it's been super hot. I'm sure they have lots of water and stuff, so I'm sure you could push through. I think it's a really cool opportunity for people in the community, and hopefully we have a lot of people take advantage of it. So,
yeah. And to your point about, you know, it being hot, I know that I don't know if this is afterward they want people to clean up or just throughout the day will you have shifts. If it's throughout the day, will you have shifts? Definitely think about the heat. If it's afterward, I'm thinking maybe with the sun down, it'll be just like
just a little
bit
better,
a little cooler. But stuff to think about. And also to your point, the kids who are home on summer break, or maybe like high schoolers who are looking for a summer job. It sounds like a fantastic opportunity to get out there and get some experience.
Definitely. I think it's really cool. You know, we keep on talking about all the stuff that the city's doing. And with all that, it's creating so many new jobs, you know, from like the higher levels, but it's all the way down to FIFA Fan Fest and picking up trash. Like it's creating a job and an opportunity for people to come in, make some money. And I think that's a really cool thing, you know? So I really hope people take advantage of it.
Great point, too. It makes me think, you know, Philadelphia's mayor has continuously said over and over again that she believed that FIFA World Cup would generate a lot of revenue for the city of Philadelphia. And so if this is a way that we can put some money in our pockets, why would we not do it?
100%.
I just don't like cleaning up after other people. And I'm stubborn too. If I saw the wrong kind of trash on the ground, I'm just gonna get mad. You know, you could have went to the trash can and threw this out.
You know, it is, as we were having this conversation, this just popped in my brain. This is interesting because a couple of weeks ago I went to a music festival and they were wanting people to clean up, and so they had an initiative that like they would give people like a big bag and have people pick up trash, and then at the end of the day you could turn it in and they would give you like a free shirt. So like obviously it was different than like getting paid or whatever, but I think it's cool that like big festivals like this are having programs like the shirt and this in place, you know, to help keep it clean and make it look nice for everyone else, rather than just having chaos at the end of the day and a select few employees having to do all this work by themselves.
Yeah, you know, with that, a lot of people, I've heard it be said at the end of a concert, even at the end of the Roots picnics, who were like, well, that's not my job. Or like, we got to leave it for somebody else to do, or, you know, it's not the right way to think. So, our scorer, has gone up. I say our scorer. I'm still thinking about soccer.
Goal!
72% now to 28% who say no way. Well, you guys can continue to vote. Jake, where do they go?
Okay, so the poll itself, fox29.com/go vote, Fox Local tab. But if you want to leave a comment, let us know what you're thinking. You can find it on our Instagram, our X, Facebook. I'll even put the chat link in the TikTok chat. So
and also you guys can just speak to us right within the chat too.
Definitely.
I love giving out name dropping people and whatnot.
Some shout outs.
Also, when we talk about some of our more serious stories, remember that you can ask us questions. I try to answer them on the spot or get them out to a reporter or a producer who can. So that is something you can do as well. Darwin just said hello. Hello, Darwin.
Hi.
See?
Look, there we go.
Yep.
No, we love interacting with you and making you feel like you're like a part of this. It's a really cool thing that we're able to do. So, oh my gosh, look.
Good morning, Thailand.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome on in. Thank you guys so much for joining with us. Again, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, so hang tight.
Stay tuned.
Still ahead. We've got one more FIFA story to tell you about for the time being. I'm hearing that TSA at PHL, so Philadelphia International Airport, they have actually given out some new messaging to people who plan on coming in. They say there are a couple of things that you should not bring if you want to have a good time here. We'll look into that when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm hearing that Philadelphia's airport, they have new messaging for anybody who's planning on coming into Philadelphia to have a good time, or even for fans who want to leave and go to another host city to see the FIFA World Cup. TSA says there are some things that you need to know about what you can pack and what you can't pack. Let's get into their summer travel tips right now.
As passengers prepare for their upcoming summer travels, I want to highlight some important updates and reminders to help passengers move smoothly through the security checkpoint and to make the journey as stress-free as possible. TSA at Philadelphia International Airport uses several of the latest checkpoint technologies to enhance security and streamline the passenger experience. Remember, passengers may use any checkpoint to access all gates. If you're enrolled in TSA PreCheck, PHL now offers TSA PreCheck Touchless ID that's located at A East, C, and DE checkpoints. Touchless ID is a new way for TSA PreCheck travelers to verify their identity at airport security without showing a physical ID or boarding pass. To use TSA PreCheck Touchless ID, add your valid passport information to your profile with a participating airline. You must opt in so the TSA PreCheck Touchless ID indicator appears on your boarding pass. I'd like to take this time to turn it over to Transportation Security Officer Logan Honeycutt to provide some traveling tips when preparing for your upcoming summer trip.
Good morning. My name is Logan Honeycutt. I'm a lead Transportation Security Officer. I'm here to provide some tips on travel, especially with prohibited items. To avoid delays, we recommend packing with an empty bag first and check TSA's "What Can I Bring" tool before you start packing. This helps ensure you don't accidentally bring a prohibited item. Remember, the liquids aerosols gels restriction is 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters. So your water bottles must be empty before they come through the checkpoint, as well as sunscreens. Make sure that they're under 3.4 ounces or you put them in your checked bags, as well as like shaving creams and perfumes, colognes. Outside of LGAs, please be aware you can't bring knives, pepper sprays, any sort of self-defense tools like brass knuckles and stun guns. If you have any questions, please, the internet's a great resource, and if you have the question, it's been asked before by someone. Outside of that, please make sure you have a real ID compliant identification, such as a driver's license or identification card that has enhanced or the star on it. If you don't have either one of those, a passport or a global entry card. If you have any questions on real ID, TSA.gov is a great resource to determine what you need or if you need something different than what you have. As we are getting more into the summer season, please give yourself extra time when you come to the airport. A lot of people are flying, families are coming through. Just be aware you want to give yourself at least 2 hours to park and get through check-in and then come up through us. There are a lot of people coming through, so just don't stress, come take your time, okay guys? Now I'll turn it back over to DFSD Carrie Hazel. Thank you.
Thank you, Logan. So if you have any questions, compliments, or need assistance, you can contact TSA by texting 275-872, messaging at Ask TSA on X or Facebook Messenger, or calling the TSA Contact Center at 866-289-9673. For passengers needing extra assistance, such as those with disabilities or medical conditions, TSA Cares is available at 855-787-2227. Please request assistance at least 72 hours in advance. As always, for the latest updates, check the TSA.gov homepage before you travel. With that, I will pass it over to Supervisory Federal Air Marshal Kira Crawford.
Good morning. My name is Kira Crawford, K-E-R-A-C-R-A-W-F-O-R-D. I'm the Supervisory Federal Air Marshal here at the Philadelphia Field Office. As FIFA welcomes the world to FIFA World Cup, as Philadelphia welcomes the world to FIFA World Cup at Philadelphia Stadium, safety and security are our highest priorities. The Federal Air Marshal Service, in close partnership with the Transportation Security Administration's Security Operations, Airport Authorities, and Federal Aviation Administration, and other law enforcement stakeholders are working to protect travelers, fans, and our community. From gate to goal, we use a layered security approach. Security starts the moment a traveler boards a flight, continues through arrival at Philadelphia International Airport, and extend all the way to the Philadelphia Stadium. In-flight security remains a vital part of our mission. Federal Air Marshals are deployed on flights arriving at and departing from Philadelphia International Airport, ensuring safety of passengers and crew during this high-profile event. We are also conducting high-visibility uniform operations at critical transit locations throughout the city and at the Philadelphia Stadium. Working side by side with the Philadelphia Police Department, Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Authority Police, and Amtrak Police, we provide visible security and rapid response capabilities to protect fans and participants. Our teams are embedded in multi-agency command centers, sharing intelligence and responding rapidly to any threat. We share information in real time and act together to secure every part of the airport, stadium, and transportation venues. A major focus this year is drone security. As a reminder to all passengers and fans, leave your drone at home. Drones are strictly prohibited near airports, stadium, and World Cup event venues. Flying a drone in restricted areas can result in confiscation, fines, and possible prosecution. New laws and executive orders give us tools to detect, track, and when necessary, mitigate unsafe or malicious drones near airports and critical sites. Philadelphia is one of 15 key airports sponsoring the World Cup. Here, federal air marshals can detect, monitor, and respond to drones within a 1-mile radius around the airport and runway exclusion zones. After the World Cup, we will expand these capabilities to more airports and special events. Our commitment to public safety is unwavering. Expanding our drone mission does not take away from our core in-flight or law enforcement duties. We are growing our team and investing in technology to meet today's challenges. Again, a reminder that personal drones near airports, stadium, and World Cup event venues are a safety risk, and operators can face fines and possible prosecution. Leave them at home. We encourage everyone to stay alert and report suspicious activity. Together, we can make this World Cup safe and memorable for all. Thank you.
Yes.
How does the World Cup differ from any other major event? I mean, you've had Philadelphia's not used the major, obviously with COVID and all kinds of conventions. How is the FIFA and World Cup? Is this type of security different? Policing is a different way?
Of course. Since I've been in Philadelphia as a supervisor at our field office, the only major event that I've been a part of was the Super Bowl parade, right? And now, better part of my speech concerned drones, and we saw there was an issue with drones. But as it concerns FIFA, it's just a collaboration of all the agencies at the highest level, from federal, state, and local. It's just a constant communication, making sure that we ensure that we have safe passage for all the fans, everyone coming through the checkpoints, our partners within the security operations. So it's just like a whole holistic approach to security, starting from the time the fans are getting ready to come through Philadelphia, while they're here during these different matches, Fan Fest, and all the events that's going on until they leave to go back to their home state or country. So it's just a holistic approach that we've been taking, and just a collaboration from all partners.
Similar to, just pretty much, how does FIFA compare to the other major events that came to Philly? And this is going to be a pretty big one, I'm sure, the World Cup.
Sure. So much to Kira's point, we are on the world stage. We have representation from countries all over the world, and everyone wants to come, cheer on their soccer team, and get home safely. And that's what we're doing here. We're collaborating with all sorts of different agencies to make sure that everyone can come, see those matches, and then get home safely.
So there you have it. And I feel like each of the different things that they named was fairly fair. They're things that we already know we shouldn't be bringing to the airport anyway. But big one about the drones, and I think that's why she took so long talking about it, but especially fans who maybe want to go to New York, New Jersey Stadium, out MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, maybe you're staying in the city. I want to tell you right now, New York City has some of the strictest guidelines for flying drones. I believe almost all of their parks, if not every single last one of them, it's just you can't do it, especially not over Central Park. It's automatically going to be $1,000 fine, or you may go to jail. Like, they are not playing out there. Play with them if you want to. NYPD is very quick about it. So keep all that stuff in mind. I know you guys want to get your content and all that good stuff, but I mean, I would rather you guys make it back home, wherever it is that you came from, and have had a good time, a good, clean, fun time, rather than getting caught up in some mess, owing money, or maybe sitting behind bars. All right, so still a lot to talk to you all about. I told you pretty soon we would be talking about this deal with Iran. President Donald Trump says it's already been signed. There was a memorandum that was leaked to the media, and I want to go over all the different things that they say would be included in this deal. We'll go over it when we come back. All right, welcome back into Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. I want to give you a live look out at the White House. Remember, we've been talking to you about this apparent plan, a plot at the UFC match that took place over this weekend. It was President Donald Trump's 80th birthday. It was also a celebration of America's 250th birthday. Thousands of people gathered out on the South Lawn of the White House, and we're hearing that there was actually a plan in place to attack people. We're hearing that at least 3 people have been identified, but we're talking about over 24 people expected to have been part of this bigger plot in order to harm folks. 5 people have been taken into custody. Right now they're saying they think about 23 individuals, maybe more, are part of a much bigger network of plotters. They say that this weekend at the UFC Freedom 250 event in Washington, D.C., they had planned to use explosives on drones to strike a couple of different buildings taking place near the event. They wanted to trigger a mass evacuation and get people panicking and running toward a pre-staged sniper team. And then they say that team would have then tried to take out as many people as they possibly could. They said there was going to be a second phase, allegedly calling for storming the White House gate. So you're taking a look at some of the people who have already been taken into custody. We know one suspect, Tyson Proper, was taken in. He was arrested in Cincinnati. We also heard that 2 other people, Brian Omaroa and Michael Allen Thomas, that were arrested in California for their alleged roles within this plot. The Tyson was charged with, because of probable cause, he was charged, and then we hear the 2 other people who were arrested in California have been charged with conspiracy to commit murder. They had to appear Monday in court in Riverside. A couple of other people have been taken into custody in Missouri and Nebraska, and we're hearing that these people, every single last one of them that were arrested, they are believed to be American citizens. Investigators don't think that they had any ties to any international, any other countries. So that's the latest with the FBI UFC drone attack. I want to let you all know the FBI did say that they got wind of what was supposed to take place and they were able to put a stop to it before anybody could be harmed. Now, Want to get into this deal with Iran. President Donald Trump says that it's already been signed, and he says it's supposed to be in effect right now. We're seeing that senior U.S. officials actually leaked a memorandum to the press. They read it out loud. This was after days of, a lot of secrecy. They said that they would only do this if they could remain anonymous, but we do know that they are part of U.S. in an official capacity, so we're thinking part of the government. Now, I do want to let you all know, still to this very moment, about 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the city of Philadelphia, we don't have any indication that Iran has put out any of this text, but this is what came from those U.S. officials. And if you don't mind, for whatever time we have, I want to read as much of it as I can with you all so you know what's expected to be part of it. So first bullet says, the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran and their allies in the current war, by signing this MOU, declare the immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including in Lebanon, and undertake from now on not to initiate any war or any military operation against each other, and to refrain from the threat or use of force against each other, and ensuring the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon. The final deal will confirm the permanent termination of the war on all fronts, including in Lebanon, and other provisions of this paragraph. Second mark says, the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran undertake to respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and to refrain from interfering in each other's internal affairs. Third one, so the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran commit to negotiating and achieving the final deal in maximum 60 days, extendable with mutual consent. Number 4, immediately upon the signing of this MOU, the United States of America will begin the removal of its naval blockade at any disturbances or impediments against the Islamic Republic of Iran, and will fully end the naval blockade within 30 days. During this period, the traffic of vessels will be in proportion to the number of pre-war traffic being restored by the Islamic Republic of Iran. The United States of America further undertakes to remove its forces from the proximity of the Islamic Republic of Iran within 30 days after the final deal. 5. Upon signing this MOU, the Islamic Republic of Iran will make arrangements using its best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vessels with no charge for 60 days, only from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman and vice versa. The traffic of commercial vessels will immediately start, and considering the needs for removing the technical and military obstacles and demining by the Islamic Republic of Iran will be instated within 30 days. The Islamic Republic of Iran will conduct dialogue with the Sultanate of Oman to define the future administration and maritime services in the Strait of Hormuz, in discussion with other Persian Gulf littoral states in line with the applicable international law and the sovereign rights of coastal states of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, it does go on, I will let you all know, for 14 more points. The last one saying the final deal will be endorsed by binding UNSC resolution. If you want to read more of this, the Associated Press does have each and every bullet point available for you all to read. Again, if you're interested in learning more about what's within this deal. Again, we're hearing senior U.S. officials did give this memorandum to the press so that we would know what we're expecting to be agreeing to with Iran. Now, President Donald Trump spoke earlier today. I've been telling you all day long that he was at the GS Summit. He's been there for a couple of days. He actually just got on a flight back to D.C., so we're expecting to have him home pretty soon. But during his time at the GS Summit today, he talked about the memorandum, what's going on into it. I want to let you listen in. Keep in mind, this is only part 1. Let's take a listen.
Peter?
Bonjour. You've been clear, President Trump, the United States is not going to directly pay Iran, but the U.S. is going to let the Iranians start making billions of dollars, selling oil, accessing this reconstruction fund.
Only if they're doing things right. Peter, only if we're not doing anything. We're not putting up money. only if they're doing things right. If they're doing things right, if people want to invest, they can invest. But they had this $300 million fund. It's only $300 billion fund. It's only if they're doing things right. Remember this also, when you talk about billions of dollars, they've had much more than $1 trillion worth of damage done. They got a long way. There'll be 15 to 20 years to rebuild what they have right now. So they have to behave themselves. If they're not behaving, they get hit again. You know, they'll be hit again because we can do it very easily. It's going to take a long way for them to build back their anti-aircraft stuff. It's going to take, and you know, the other thing, I want to thank China, President Xi. I was with him, and he stayed neutral, totally neutral, and I appreciate it. And I would want to thank Vladimir Putin. He was very neutral. They could have made it much more difficult for us. And I want to say it. You know, somebody would say, "Oh, that's terrible. He's thanking President Xi of China." Well, let me tell you, I had a long talk with him. You know, they have shoulder weapons to knock down airplanes. That it's not like the real deal, but they're accurate. They're fairly accurate. I said, I would really appreciate you're not giving or selling any of that stuff to Iran. And you know what? For the most part, he didn't. So I just want to thank them because they made it a lot better.
Can you explain, though, what the difference is between giving Iran U.S. dollars and unfreezing U.S. dollars for
Well, the unfreezing is an easy one to answer. We have taken a lot of their money, and we have their money. We have taken their money. It's not our money. It's their money, and we froze it. At a certain point in time, I guess we're going to have to give it back. You know, if we didn't give it back, nobody would ever invest in the dollar again. If you took their money, because I thought about it, you know, I'm not the most perfect person. I said to Scott, why do we keep their money? What the hell are we giving it back to them? But, you know, people from lots of nations, some nations we don't agree with, they have their money. The dollar's become very strong under me. And they don't want to have a little conflict with somebody and end up having the United States just take their money. So if you do that, you really don't have a system.
And I did just want to ask you about this. A wise man once said in January of 2020, Iran never won a war, but never lost a negotiation. That wise man.
Who said that?
Donald Trump.
Oh, that's what I thought you were going to say.
So how do you go back to the United States and convince a skeptical American public that this deal is a
look,
win?
Here they lost militarily, okay? It's very tough because I know that no matter what, if I would go, by the way, if I'd go another 3 or 4 weeks, those same people that are critical would say, he went too long, he should have done, you know, no matter what. If they raised the white flag of surrender, and if they said, praise be to Allah, Donald Trump is the greatest president ever. We totally concede, we totally give up. This war is over, we have failed. The New York Times and CNN and a couple of others, they're not all that dishonest, they say Iran had a great victory, okay? They practically do that. You know, it's amazing. When we knocked out their last ship, they had 159 ships. When we knocked out the last ship, the Times refused to do a story on it. They said, why wouldn't you? They don't have a Navy, and you don't want to do a story on it. They don't have an Air Force. You don't want to do a story. We need a fair press. And that's why they're all doing so badly, because they lost credibility. When I win in a landslide and I had 93% bad press, they take good stories about me and make them bad. But the only reason that happened is because they have so little, the media has so little credibility that the people voted for me. 93% of the stories on network, ABC is horrible. I think ABC is the worst. NBC is terrible. And CBS is terrible. CNN, obviously. And I never get good stories, no matter what I do. I could do the greatest thing. I won't get good stories on this. I'll get it from fair media. I'll get it from all over the world. They're running good. But no matter what I do, I'm going to get bad press. I know that. Now, if I did the opposite, if I went out and continued to bomb them for another 4, just bomb the hell out of them, I'd get bad press on that. No, there's nothing I can do. But what this does is it allows the ships to go. If we keep bombing, those ships won't be going. And you're talking about $500, $600, $700 million a day. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. That's why the world is okay. It's liquid. It's fine. Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. You know, there are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see Bedlam? So for all those so-called geniuses that want to show me how smart they are, ask them why didn't they blow up General Soleimani? Ask that of the general and a couple of other people that I like very much, but boy, are they wrong. Go ahead. How about you? Thank you, Peter. I give you more, Peter, but people will say I like you too much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bonsoir, Mr.
You know,
President.
he told me that first day in office, he asked me like 7 questions. I answered all of them. Is this true? He said, he just answered more questions in one meeting than Joe Biden did in 4 years, okay? You know, I'm not going to get you in trouble, but that's what you said. Go ahead.
Bonsoir, Mr. President. In The Art of the Deal, you write about the importance of leverage. Yeah. Obviously, you have a lot of leverage when it comes to Iran, whether
Tremendous
it's militarily or through economic sanctions. What leverage, sir, do you have when it comes to Israel and Hezbollah to ensure that they abide by the ceasefire?
Well, I think we have leverage just by the fact that we really have Iran now has to be good. They have to behave. And we might help. That's a much smaller conflict. It's a conflict that should be able to be over with. I'm surprised it's taken so long. And it's a much smaller, but we have a lot of leverage. We have the greatest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest, most powerful. Look at the blockade. By the way, the blockade was more impactful than all of the bombing raids where we dropped $1 billion worth of bombs on Iran. The blockade was so incredible. The naval blockade, the admiral, the whole thing, not one ship got through. That meant no money got through. They were dying. They had no money. They have inflation that's 250 or 300%. They have no money. We have tremendous leverage. We have the leverage of the economy as an example. We'll get that done. That's a small one, and we'll work with Israel and get it done. But I'd like to do it. I mean, you have people living there. Buildings are being dropped on top of them or right alongside of them. How would you like to live there? It's so unfair, especially Beirut. You know, you go into Beirut, and I looked at the scene 2 days ago, yesterday, where they hit. That was a big hit. That was unnecessary in my book. Yeah, please.
2 questions. If you could clarify something you said just a few minutes ago. One of the goals of Epic Fury going into it, you said was...
Say it again. Speak up.
Sorry. One of the goals of Epic Fury, you said going into it, was to destroy Iran's ballistic missiles and its capabilities to build more.
Yeah.
Why is it acceptable to you now that they keep some of that capability? And Iran is...
What are they keeping? What are they keeping? They have less than other nations now. We knocked out probably 85% of their missiles. The rest of them are underground. They can't even get them out. You know, the other night's raid, I think it was on the first night, we knocked out hundreds of their missiles. Actually, by mistake, we were hitting an area, and you can sort of see when the bombs are going off, and then you see one that looks like, wow, what happened? A lot of missiles knocked down. No, but what are you going to do? Let's spend another 2 weeks and give them none. They don't want to be firing missiles right now. They're going to have a hard time rebuilding. They're going to have a hard time rebuilding. And if people from the Middle East, if people want to invest, and again, they don't have to invest at all, but if they do want to invest, it does have oil. It does have probably a future, but it's going to take a long time. But are you going to let the 91 million people starve to death? I mean, one of the things I was very intent on, they have water desalinization plants, very good ones. I could have knocked them out in 5 minutes, just like I knocked out Cargill, and I knocked out everything but the oil. I said, 25, it was so complete. The only thing there is the pipes coming with the oil, because I didn't want to ruin the world market, because they do a lot of money. But I didn't want to do that, no. It would have been so easy. It would have been easier, and I would have satisfied a group of 10% of the people, but it would have been the wrong thing to do. And it could have caused an international depression.
Iran's position...
Maybe not.
All right, so you guys, we're going to put a quick pause there, but the president is not done speaking. When we come back from this break, I want to let you guys hear the federal chair, Kevin Warsh. You know, he has finally begun his tenure as the new chair, and right before he was supposed to begin talking, the NASDAQ, the Dow tanked. We're talking about over 500 points for the Dow, almost 355 for NASDAQ. But one of the big things that we know he's talking about is the interest rates and how it goes along with what President Donald Trump wants. We'll also continue talking about this deal with Iran. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. We're taking a live look out at the White House in D.C. because I can now confirm that President Donald Trump, on behalf of the U.S. as well as Iran, they have remotely signed that memorandum of understanding, that MOU that I was reading earlier. So in short, that is the deal between the U.S. and Iran to effectively end this war that has been going on for so long. They also want to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Now, this wasn't supposed to happen until Friday, but it looks like both sides agreed that they wanted to reopen the strait as soon as possible. And so they did say they have done that today. President Donald Trump was speaking as he left the Palace of Versailles in France. The media asked him, did you sign the MOU? He said, it's signed. Yeah, I signed it in Versailles. So apparently, again, that was done remotely. So again, if you want to look more into all of the different things that they say they agreed to, the Associated Press has an article listing every single last one of those 14 bullet points. Now, earlier today, Federal Reserve Chair Kevin Warsh actually spoke. He's beginning his tenure. Now, this was as on Wednesday, the Fed Reserve actually announced that it would be holding interest rates steady due to some concerns about elevated inflation as well as the war in Iran. Now, clearly, that's no longer an issue here. But this move wasn't in President Donald Trump's best interest or in his favor. He's made it clear time and time again that he wanted Warsh to lower the rates. But the new Fed Reserve Chair seems to be doing his own thing. He spoke to the media today, and I want to let you take a listen in.
Good day. It's an honor, a true honor, to be back at the Federal Reserve and to take up this duty at a time of such consequence. I've been especially heartened by the warm welcome of old friends and new colleagues both. And I've listened closely to my fellow FOMC members for a lot of new ideas, new thinking, and genuine interest in moving the Fed forward. This week's FOMC meeting exemplified the very best of the Fed's traditions: rigorous debate, open-mindedness, commitment to mission, responsibility, and accountability for performance. In this business, they all add up to one thing: getting monetary policy right, or as near to it as we can do. That is our North Star. My colleagues and I are here to serve our legislative remit, which you've heard us say before: price stability and maximum employment. And these objectives guided our business in the meeting just concluded. As you saw a few moments ago, the committee decided to maintain the target range for the Fed funds rate at 3.5% to 3.75% in support of the Fed's dual mandate. The committee also reaffirmed its policy of maintaining ample reserves in the banking system. Economic activity is expanding at a solid pace, despite elevated uncertainty that owes in part to the conflict in the Middle East. Productivity growth and capital investment both strong. Job gains have kept pace with the workforce, and the unemployment rate has changed little. We recognize that inflation has been running well ahead of the Fed's long-stated inflation goal of 2%. That's been going on for more than 5 years. Persistently high prices are a burden for the American people. But the recent past need not be prologue. I am pleased to report that members of the FOMC are unambiguous and unanimous. This committee will deliver price stability. At any institution, a change in leadership is a natural and timely opportunity to reaffirm its mission, to review current practices, and to consider whether those practices best meet our objectives. My Fed colleagues and I will be working in close collaboration to ask what changes might improve the conduct of monetary policy. On that score, you might have already noticed something, a difference in today's policy statement. It's a bit shorter, a bit simpler, and it dispenses with some older language. That statement just gives you the facts as best we can judge it. Absent also is so-called forward guidance, which we agreed was not well suited to the current policy conjuncture. This afternoon, you also received the usual summary of economic projections. It's been the practice of this committee for participants to submit these projections, and I have encouraged my colleagues to continue to do so. I, however, have refrained from offering any projections of my own, consistent with my long-held views on the SEP, at least as currently structured. In the median projections, real GDP rises at 2.2% this year, 2.3% next year, and total PC inflation runs at 3.6% this year, 2.3% next year. The unemployment rate stands at about 4.3%. The median participant judges that the appropriate federal funds rate to be at 3.8% at the end of this year and 3.6% at the end of next. Let me turn now to a few words on a key initiative that we're announcing today. I'm appointing a task force in each of 5 areas that are central to the broad conduct of monetary policy. First, Fed communications. Second, the Fed's balance sheet. Third, our use and reliance on existing data sources. Fourth, productivity and jobs in an era of transformation. And last, the Fed's inflation frameworks. These subjects are timely, consequential, and in my view, worthy of a fresh look. My colleagues and I discussed them with energy and purpose over the last couple of days. For each of these independent task forces, I'm enlisting some of the very best minds, both inside and outside the economics profession. They will be supported by subject matter specialists from our superb Fed staff. And they'll have a straightforward charge. Start with first principles. Ask hard questions. Examine current practice. Consider alternatives. And ultimately propose next steps for policymaker consideration. Since last summer, my colleagues discussed possible improvements in the form and function of Fed communications. This new task force will build on that effort, and I expect propose some well-considered changes, including to the SEP I mentioned a few moments ago. The second task force, the one on balance sheet policy, will review the benefits and risks of the current ample reserves regime and the composition of the Fed's balance sheet. They will assess alternative frameworks for the conduct and operation of monetary policy. The third task force, the one on data, will evaluate new information sources and consider methodological changes to improve data gathering, with the aim of giving policymakers more accurate, relevant, contemporaneous, and perhaps most important, actionable information on the state of our economy. Fourth, the task force on productivity and jobs. It'll survey the pace, the reach, the economic impact of new general purpose technologies, including AI, and explore the implications for the Fed in pursuit of our employment and inflation mandates. The last task force, the one on inflation frameworks, that'll examine the drivers of inflation, first principles, and weigh the full range of ideas for delivering price stability in a changing economy. You'll hear quite a bit more about these task forces and this overall initiative in the coming weeks. Enough for now to make a simple statement. Each task force will serve an objective shared by everyone in the system, shared by everyone around that table that I sat with over the last couple of days. A Federal Reserve that is clear-eyed about its mission, fit for purpose, and focused on the future. And with that, I appreciate your attention. I'm happy to take your questions.
All right, you guys, so before he takes those questions, I just want to weigh back in here. As I mentioned, he did decide that the federal interest rates would remain untouched. So it's going to stay for now at the current range of 3.5 to 3.75%. They're choosing to hold those rates steady. And again, I mentioned that this is not necessarily what President Donald Trump wanted. So of course, when the media saw President Donald Trump in France, they wanted to ask him about this. What are your thoughts about it? Now, right before a scheduled dinner with France's President Donald Trump did take those questions. It starts with, how does he feel about Warsh's decision? Let's listen in.
It's all right. Whatever.
And it looks like they might even raise them later this year. It's not clear. Do you have any comment
It could happen. I mean, it's hard to believe. It just keeps a country down, you know. So it's so unusual. But we have a very good guy over there now, so I'm guided by what he wants. Was this his first time? Yeah, I don't know. I saw a statement. It just came out.
Do we have any clarity on when the deal will be signed, when the memorandum
Over the next, I'd say 48 hours.
48 hours, and it's going to be banned?
I'd say 48 hours.
Still in Geneva?
We haven't determined yet. It's in final form. We haven't determined.
How long will you leave the U.S. military in the Gulf?
What?
How long will you leave the U.S. military in the Gulf?
It's a good question. We haven't thought of it. We really, probably a while. It's a good place to stay. The question was, how long will you leave the military in the Gulf? I would say a little while. See how it all goes. I think it's going to go well, but we'll see. So I will see you guys at Versailles.
Can I follow up quickly on something you said in the press conference? You said you don't mind Iran having ballistic missiles. Can you elaborate on that? I want to make sure we understand your position.
No, I'm saying that if other countries have them, it's a little bit unfair for them not to have some. A ballistic missile is not the same thing as what we're talking about when we talk nuclear. But if Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and they all have some, I would say in relative proportion, I think it's okay. That's what I mean. Okay?
Mr. President, how important is it in the MOU, which just came out, that Iran commits not only to not pursue nuclear weapons, but also resolve the nuclear dust?
It's great. Much less important, because it's very hard to get at that. I don't think anybody could get at it. We could get at it with great work and a lot of time. But the B-2 bombers and those great pilots, now you understand they did their job. So much less important than not having a nuclear weapon.
So what are you expecting tonight at the dinner? Is this kind of part of a long farewell to President Macron?
No, not really for that. I think he's just honoring our country. And you have the biggest people from Europe, great people. You might have a list. You have a list of the people? Very impressive group of people.
There was a hot mic moment at the G7 where the Canadian Prime Minister was talking to you about their Chinese car cap, and you said you like it. Can you comment on
like
that?
what?
The cap that Canada put on Chinese car imports. You were talking about it with Carney.
Well,
what do you think of that?
I don't know that I said I like it, but I could understand that, yeah.
Is that a factor?
cap? Would I rather see a cap than no cap? Yeah, I would. On Canada.
Would the U.S. ever consider allowing Chinese cars?
Well, we haven't. They pay over 100% tariff, so we don't have the problems that Europe has, or Canada.
How long do you hope USMCA negotiations or review go on?
Well, it's not something that's, to me, I think it's better without it. I mean, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of it. I liked it because it got us out of NAFTA. In other words, after 6 years, you had a clause that got us out of NAFTA. That's the thing I liked about it most. We do better without an agreement.
Do you want to just leave it enrolling?
I would rather leave it unsigned. I'd rather have it terminated.
You'd rather have it terminated? Those are different things, sir. I just want to be clear.
I would rather not have the agreement, but I may sign it.
Right.
But we do better as a country if we don't have an agreement.
So are you thinking of...
Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe we won't be able to make a deal. I would rather not have the USMCA. The primary reason I wanted it was because there was no way out of NAFTA, which was the worst trade agreement ever made, like ever. And they had no termination. And it was very hard to get USMCA for that reason. And I had a 6-year clause. Who would have thought I would have been here in the 6 years? They got it 6 years because they hoped I wouldn't be here. My term was supposed to be over with. So on top of everything else, it comes to, I would prefer not having an agreement, but I'm open to doing it. We'll see what happens.
So as of now, it's just going to stick around for 10 years. You're okay
We're
with
not,
that?
no, it's not sticking around. It'll be terminated. In other words,
after a decade.
It expires.
Yeah, in a decade.
It expires.
Yeah.
I prefer that.
In the first paragraph,
I view it as possibly expiring immediately.
in the first paragraph of the Iran memorandum, it says no use of force, but also no threat of a use of force. You talked about bombing Iran if they didn't comply. Is that a threat? Would the Iranians see that as?
If they don't come through, is it a threat that we bomb? You can call it whatever you want, but it'll probably happen. Thank you. I will see you at Versailles, and you're going to go back and tell the New York Times you're going to change your whole way of life. Okay.
Do you see the 60 days as a hard deadline?
All right, so President Donald Trump taking those few questions from reporters. He talked about everything from how he feels about Warsh choosing not to lower the interest rates, even though that is what he has been saying for, I think, months now. A lot of people thought maybe that's why he decided to bring Warsh into that position. But today come to find out, we are sticking at the current rate of 3.5 to 3.75. Now, as I mentioned, when Warsh did start talking, that's the Federal Reserve Chair that we're talking about, the new Federal Reserve Chair. When he started talking, NASDAQ and the Dow, they started going down like almost immediately because a lot of people were, upset about this news coming out that the interest rates weren't going to go anywhere, that he wasn't touching them. And one of the reasons why he was saying he didn't want to was because of this ongoing conflict that we have with Iran. But as I mentioned to you all, it has now been confirmed that the U.S. and Iran have actually signed that memorandum, that MOU that we were telling you about earlier, that you just heard him talking about as well. They signed it remotely, so while President Donald Trump was still in France. They were supposed to do this on Friday, but it's actually already been done today. And, as you could hear, some of the things that he wants to do, one of the biggest things is reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Both sides says that was what was extremely important to them. They wanted to do that sooner than later. So again, we got a lot of big news to get you on out through. Did you guys hear about that Long Island murderer who has been convicted, but now we have learned his sentence? We'll be talking about the Gilgo Beach murderer when we come back. All right, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. Let's get right into it. Maybe you've seen the documentaries, maybe you've read the articles. Rex Heuermann, known as the Gilgo Beach serial killer or murderer, has received multiple life sentences. This is all because he was formally charged with killing 7 women, but apparently in court he admitted to killing an 8th woman. While he's not formally charged in her particular murder, we do know his plea agreement covers the death of her. Her name is Karen Vergata. Again, he admitted to killing her in court. Now, Rex used to be a Long Island architect. A lot of people were unsure how something so devious could happen within someone's home, not knowing, some people saying they didn't know that this was all going on. But they say from over a series of time that he was bringing these different women in. We're talking about Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, Amber Costello, additional other women like Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Jessica Taylor, Sandra Costilla, and Valerie Mack. And then again, even though he wasn't formally charged with her death, Karen Vergata, but they're saying that he would find these vulnerable women and then kill them. So in court, when he faced the judge, Rex spoke on his own behalf, and then the judge had these fiery words to say back to him. Take a listen.
I'm responsible for what was said in this room today. The words I would say have no meaning.
You're a disgusting and despicable small man, if you're a man at all.
So not only did he hear that from the judge, but throughout court he heard from victims, their families who faced him. They told him that he was a coward, a pathetic man. They even called him a straight up demon. So let's get into what happened after court. After hearing that he was going to be sentenced to multiple life sentences without the possibility of parole, attorneys spoke to a large crowd afterwards. We also heard from some of those victims' family members. I want to let you guys listen into everything that was said.
All right, well, listen, I think everything that needed to be said was said. Again, all credit and admiration and inspiration goes to those victims' family members. Very tough act to follow when I got up in court. They really said everything that needed to be said. And they're not, that's not what they do for a living. They spoke from the heart. Incredibly affecting. It was affecting to me. And it was really, they're what this case is about. They're why, after 30 years of doing this, I'm an optimist by nature, because I don't dwell on what defendants do. I dwell how victims act, how they coalesce together, how they jealously protect the ones they left behind, how they look out for each other, and how they overcome. And I just want to say, I want to say one thing to the victims, if I could. I want them to wreak their revenge by going on and having great lives, by being happy, by being fulfilled, by being satisfied that they stood by their loved ones and did a wonderful job. And now it's time for them to heal and to go on and realize the tremendous potential that they all have, because they're absolutely extraordinary people. So that's my greatest wish for this case, is that the victims continue their journey, continue to heal, and go on and live the lives that they all deserve. Before I turn it over, I just want to thank the task force. We've got some of our FBI. I've thanked so many people, and I know I've thanked these individuals, but this is the first time they're here. So we have Special Agent Eric Perry. He's around here somewhere. We have former FBI Special Agent Mike Saybrook. They're phone experts. They've helped us in this case. They're here, and I just so many people had a hand in this. So I wanted to especially acknowledge them and their contribution to this case. And again, you know, I could go on and thank people, but I've done that before. So I'm glad we've been trying to get them here to court, but they're busy working on other things and other cases. So they're not based in New York. So for them to come out, really thankful to them, and I look forward to having them meet the victims later. Does anybody have any questions? I don't care what he says. I said that before. It doesn't matter what he says. What matters is what he did and what he said before he got caught. And as the victim so eloquently detailed, he didn't have very many good or nice things to do or say before he got caught. I do believe he said something to the effect of, he acknowledged, I don't know. I'll let the record reflect what he said, because I don't really remember what it was. Well, I wish that were true. I think it's gotten more difficult. But I've been beating this drum, and I'm going to beat it one more time. The contribution or the lesson that we should learn from this, that this wasn't one person. This isn't like, and I think sometimes the media likes a simple story, so they're like, oh, it was this piece of evidence or this person. That's not what solved this case. What solved this case was, I just mentioned two individuals, highly talented investigators. One of a legion of really talented investigators in this case from a whole bunch of different agencies. They came together. And they have to work through the district attorney's office. And I don't say that because I'm a district attorney. I say that because I know what the district attorney or what any prosecutor's office has, which is the power of subpoena, power to issue search warrants, power to call a grand jury. So you bring all of those talented people, you gather all that evidence, and you put it into a grand jury investigation, and you get results. So I think that's what we need to get from this. But hopefully we could work towards what you're suggesting, but I don't think we're quite there. But we've certainly getting there, and it's getting more and more difficult because, as we see in our digital and forensic world, there's a footprint that's left behind. We just have to be able to find it. Well, this particular case, this indictment's done. Work is never over. We mentioned some other victims, in the courtroom today, and Suffolk County is a large metropolitan area, 1.5 million people. So we've got, it almost fell in my lap. We've got a lot of, work to do on other cases, and we're going to continue to work on those cases. The nice thing about this is all the talented people and all the resources we could dedicate it to those other cases. I think the poor people that have been around and I've tortured, they know what I'm going to say. I said, it doesn't matter what I think, it doesn't matter what I believe. I'm not going to talk about what I think because it's irrelevant. And I think we need to learn lessons. A lot of prosecutors are very free talking about what they think. If I had evidence, I put it into a grand jury and an indictment, and then we'd come and talk about it. Till I have that, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I respect the question, but that's just the way it has to work for it to work. Do you want to? If you want to. No, she knows how to walk. We're just trying to figure out if she wants to do it. Do you want to do it? It's up to you. Well, she's going to think about it. Yeah. So why don't we just, if anybody has any more questions for me, we'll turn it over. And I want to thank Ms. Allred for her assistance in this case. And I'm sure some of the victims and Ms. Allred are going to speak, which is great. And if anyone, wants to speak, obviously they will, but we'll leave that up to them.
When is he leaving? Where is he going? Tell us about that.
Well, I heard he's going quick. And as I said, Suffolk wants to be rid of him. And so he's going to be going quick. I think he's going to be going by the end of this week. I don't know. I don't know if he's already been designated. Sometimes he goes straight to the facility. Sometimes he goes to like an interim facility where he's designated. But that's a state Department of Corrections situation. No. And if there is, it'll be a subject of a separate press conference. Thank you. Same thing. Obviously, the big thing that we want, or that we're looking for with Asian Doe, is ascertaining, getting that individual's name back, finding out who that person is, and once we do that, it'll give him some dignity and also give us some investigative leads. So we're still working that genetic genealogy, investigative genetic genealogy. I think we're going to go into the city and make some inquiry into the city again, and so hopefully that'll bear some fruit. So, sure. I'm sorry. So as I think we've been talking about all along, case to case, we could compare DNA samples in this case with other investigative samples of other investigations. We've been doing that on a case to case basis. But once this conviction has occurred, that DNA protocol will go to the FBI, and then they'll upload it in CODIS, and then it'll be in the CODIS system, and it'll be searchable throughout the country. So that'll happen imminently. No. And I'll say primarily for one reason only. If you saw the burner phones that he used in the commission of the murders in this case, it was just to communicate with one person. All the burner phones that we saw, he was communicating with multiple people. We'll let the FBI speak about that. But I do think that, well, I do hope, I guess I should say, that the FBI will gain insight into this individual for the sake of the FBI, of course, and for the rest of us in law enforcement and across the country.
So the phones that he used on the victims, you haven't recovered those?
I'm sorry.
The burner phones that had like one dedicated victim.
Yes. So those were disposed of after the commission. That's the purpose of the burner phones. Shortly before the commission of the murders, they were used to lure the victims, and then once the crime was completed, they were disposed of, because obviously, if found, they would link the defendant to the commission of the crime. So he got rid of them. But we got obviously we got the phone records.
When you arrested him, he had other burner phones on him.
Yes. So we were able to trace his burner phone usage back to around 2007. And then we were so we started from 2007, we worked our way forwards, and we linked him to burner phone usage all the way up to the time of his arrest. At the time of his arrest, we found one of the burner phones he was using, the physical phone, in his pocket, and another one was found at his at the location of his business.
Have you been able to trace how he met
We have information with regard to that. The evidence shows that he met her in the city.
And the same with Karen Vergata?
Yes.
Can you just elaborate more on what you said in the report about him continuing to manipulate his family and sort of enriching himself through them still?
I think it's pretty obvious, right? So I think it speaks for itself, and I think that through the trickle of information, he's tried to give a kind of, somebody's breaking into a car. That's against the law. We have a lot of investigators here. Somebody go do something about that. He's by sort of the trickle of information that came out, I think he kind of tried to sanitize the information about this case. I think that the victims gave the unvarnished information and truth about what this defendant is, what he did, and the effect it had. So I was so pleased and inspired and proud of the victims, because they really gave a great accounting for themselves, for the family members, and it was that, again, that's what this case is about. This is why we care about these cases first and foremost, because, you know, everyone in life, and to a certain extent, is you know, two-dimensional, portrayed two-dimensional, but there's much more nuance to things. You know, the family members knew the victims better than anyone, and they really, better than anyone, were able to really tell you what those women were about, and really inspirational and effective and important. So happy to have been a part of that. That's it.
Any comments about how it all ended and the judge's comments?
You know, I think it was appropriate. Again, you know, I should say about the judge. You know, I had never worked with Judge Mazie before as a judge, so I was a little apprehensive. You know, I didn't know how it was going to go, as you always are whenever you work a case. Very strict, no-nonsense judge, as you saw, really. But you know, given the complex nature of the case, the volume of the case, really handled the case well. Really challenged both myself and the defense. And you know, just really grateful for all the courtesies that he gave both sides, and the job he did. Both him and his staff and the court officers and everyone really did a great job. So proud of the professionalism here in Suffolk County, and you know, the defense. You know, they were great too, in the sense that, you know, when you have a case like this, there were a lot of opportunities for them to complain about discovery, and you know, we got together, we communicated, and we said, listen, you can complain all you want to the judge about discovery, or we could work together and we can make this thing flow, and we could help you to have this stuff make sense, and that's what they did. So there wasn't a lot of issues that, you know, unless there needed to be issues, there weren't issues. So grateful to them as well. That's it. Awesome. Thank you. We'll turn that over.
Yeah, because I'm a little short. Okay. Can you stay here with me? Okay, good. Here, can you just stand with me?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great, because I'm going to mention each one of you. Okay. Okay. Why don't you stand with us? Okay, thank you. Oh, I would. Thank you. Thank you very much. Would you mind? Thank you. Thank you. That's a big help. Thank you.
So good. Sorry, I'm just like staring.
Here, come on up. Come in. You're the more important. All of you are the most important people here. Okay. Okay. I'm Attorney Gloria Allred, and I will identify the individuals who are with me. Today, many of my clients who are family members of murder victims in this case provided their victim impact statements in court. Missy Khan, also known as Missy, spoke about the impact of the loss of her sister, Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Nicolette Brainerd Barnes, where are you, Nick? Right here. Nicolette read her statement describing how the loss of her mother, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, has affected her life. Dylan Haggett read his statement and discussed the loss of his mother, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, when he was just, what, an infant? 1 year old. Elizabeth Meserve spoke powerfully about the impact of the loss of her niece, Megan Waterman, and how it changed her life. Liliana Waterman spoke about her beloved mother, Megan Waterman, when Liliana was only 3 years old. Jasmine Robinson spoke about the loss of her cousin, Jessica Taylor, and how much she missed Jessica. It took a great deal of courage for all of these family members to reach down inside of themselves and then write their statements for the court. As they spoke, we could hear and we could feel their pain and their love and the bond that they had with their murdered family members. The defendant's daughter, Victoria Herman, stated in a documentary that she asked her father if he ever saw the women that he murdered as somebody's daughter. She then stated, quote, "He told me, didn't even see them as human," end quote. As a women's rights attorney for 50 years, I believe that when women are not seen as human, but instead are seen as sexual objects, they are then vulnerable to being raped, tortured, and murdered. We all need to do more to elevate the status of women and to teach that women and girls need to be respected and valued as human beings and treated as equals. Otherwise, all of our daughters remain at risk by those who do not see them as human. Women should be entitled to the respect, dignity, and rights that everyone should have the right to enjoy. Today, the family members of the murder victims painted a true portrait of their loved ones in a way that only family members can do. They described them as important and often essential members of their family who loved and were loved by their families and who contributed in a significant manner to the lives of their families, often financially, emotionally, and physically, by hugging and kissing their children and other members of their family and sacrificing for them. They were not just human. They were good, caring people who mattered to their family and friends and to their communities. All had hopes for a better life for their children, for themselves, and for their family members. All of my clients who spoke today honored their loved ones' lives. The defendant will never be able to say that he honored his family because he only brought shame upon them. As a condition of the defendant's plea and conviction to the murders, the defendant must cooperate with the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit. They will learn a great deal about the defendant and how and why a serial murderer commits these heinous criminal acts and inflicts the ultimate crime, murder of vulnerable women. On behalf of many of my clients, the family members, I call on the FBI to share what they learn with any of the family members of the victims who wish to know why the defendant did what he did to their loved ones. Finally, I also wish to thank the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office for agreeing to discuss any evidence against the defendant with family members if they wish to learn what else might have been presented at trial against the defendant. The family members who spoke today or came to court and did not speak will always remember what happened here. It is my hope that what they will remember is that the defendant was sentenced to the maximum term in prison for the crimes that he committed because New York State does not have a death penalty. I also hope they'll remember and respect the fact that so many family members have persisted for decades until they could finally win justice for their lost loved ones. Their leadership, their persistence, their courage, and their refusal to allow their loved ones to be forgotten is an example to us all. Their refusal to suffer in silence inspired law enforcement to persevere over so many years to find the evidence and apprehend the defendant, which led to the consequences that were imposed on the defendant today. I am very proud to have represented these brave family members who have done such honor to their loved ones by never giving up and making sure that their voices were heard. They have been an inspiration to me and to so many others who now understand that they too have the power to fight to win justice for their loved ones. for themselves, their families, their friends, and their community. And I will just say, as once was said, they have become the change they wish to see in the world. If anyone would like to make a statement, you're more than, if you would like to, you're welcome to do so. If not, everyone has your statement, which you read in court, but feel free to say anything that you would like right now. I'm going to step down. Would you mind? Thank you. And if anyone would like to say anything, they may. Would you like to say anything? Okay, you want to stand over here? Nicolette.
I just want to say that having been given the opportunity to say what I said today, I feel a lot lighter and I have hope for healing. Thank you.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Did you want to? Yeah. You want to stand up here? Here, I'll hold.
Step up.
Okay, good.
At Elizabeth Meserve, the aunt of Megan Waterman, and I just want to repeat one part of my statement. This is your opportunity to stand with victims' families and support the meaningful advancement of Bill 86730. So future families do not have to endure the same pain and indignity that we have and countless of victims before us have suffered. Disgusting. Disgusting that they made millions of dollars. It's just disgusting. It should never happen again. It didn't change me at all, no. No.
You want to say anything? I don't think you need this.
It's good, it's good. No,
Pass
no,
the
it's
bill,
good.
I'll feel some comfort.
I just want to thank everyone who spent time on this case, listening to our voices and giving my mom and all these other ladies a chance to have their voices heard. This has been a long day coming, and from this day forward, stop saying his name, stop putting his face everywhere. Put the girl's face, put their names, and make it known that we are the ones who live on for them. Rex will never matter, and he is nothing to us, and it should be nothing to any of you. That's all.
Second. Wait, 1 second. You want to say? No.
What'd you say, sorry?
He seemed so remorseless. What did it mean to you to be able to confront him in court? Did it bring any comfort?
I wouldn't say comfort, but it's a day that I've been thinking of my whole life. The chance to finally speak up for her, it gives me comfort for her, knowing she can finally lay down, rest in peace, and he can't hurt anybody else. That's what brings me comfort, not him.
I'm glad that they ended with the victims' family members speaking to the media rather than, again, as she was saying, harping on him, showing his face again. But I do need to just tie this with a bow and give you guys the last couple of details that they did announce in court. So first and foremost, his DNA is going to be shared with CODIS, that's FBI's system. That's going to go all across the country. So if there are any other victims, if his DNA is found on any other cold cases, that will be able to be flagged and will be brought to the court's attention. Also, they're saying that he'll have to speak to the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit, the BAU. They want to learn a little bit more about how people can do something like this. How do you become a killer and then compartmentalize your life so that you can still walk each day among other people, lead a fairly normal life? How does that work? So these are going to be some of the questions that they ask him while he spends the rest of his life in prison. Again, they did say that the reason why that was the chosen sentence for him is because New York does not have the death penalty. You guys, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about some things that are happening closer to home. You all know yesterday out in Delaware, we were learning more and more about this shooting at Wilmington Hospital. We now know the suspect in this case has been arrested and also identified. We'll get into all of that when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. Let's look into some things happening right around our area. We're talking about Philadelphia to South Jersey and Delaware. Yesterday, we had that huge breaking news situation. There was a shooting at Wilmington Hospital, also known as Christiana Care. We know 2 people were shot. One of those individuals did not survive. You were just taking a look at the suspect in the case who has been caught and also charged. He's 23-year-old John Wallace Bay. Now, they say he carried out this shooting and has been charged with murder, attempted murder, and multiple firearm offenses. We had a lot of questions in our live stream chat yesterday regarding how someone could bring a firearm into a hospital. Like, how was it possible? Because normally hospitals have a weapons detection system. Christiana Care does have one. We don't have any information just yet on how he was able to get inside the facility or how he was able to leave. We do know he evaded police until he made his way to Philadelphia, where he was finally caught within the same evening. Again, you're taking a look at him there on your screen. I told you he's all 23, and it's interesting to know that the victims in this case are both 19-year-olds. Now, we don't know if he had any connection to those 19-year-olds who have, one was killed, one is still being treated because they had been shot, but it is interesting to hear some sources are telling Fox 29 that the suspect was part of an internship program at the hospital and that he had been let go from that program. Now, this is coming from sources. It's not coming from police. It's not coming from any officials in Delaware. That's just what we're hearing from some trusted sources to us. So we're waiting to hear if we'll get that confirmed or not. But again, a really horrible situation that our reporters have been keeping us all abreast on. I know Shawnette Wilson is going to have another report for you guys all tonight, just in case you're looking into any more details that we may have. We've got an article available for you on the free Fox Local app. You can also go to fox29.com to learn a little bit more. One thing that we all here are hoping to get more information on are the victims. Okay, we'll tell you about the suspect in this case, but we also want to know who these victims are. But from the person who is still fighting for their life, from the person who lost their life. If any family members, any friends would like to speak to us just to honor their loved ones, we're open to that. Now, I also want to talk to you all about a funeral announcement that we've gotten. Some family and some friends have announced funerals for arrangements for 57-year-old Eric Franks. You're taking a look at him there on your screen. He was the former firefighter accused of engaging in a shootout with 3 Philadelphia police officers. It put them all in the hospital. It left him dead. We know at least 2 of those officers, 1 sergeant and 1 police officer, were released from the hospital. Unfortunately, one of those individuals was shot in the face. We know that 1 other officer is still in the hospital as we speak. Once we get information that that person has also been released, we'll let you all know. Now, for Franks, it's still not clear what led to that confrontation between him and the officers, but the officers do say that Franks shoved a sergeant, and then when they went to arrest him, they say he pulled out a gun and shot them. Now, despite us not having very many details because they haven't been shared about the shooting, the community has been extremely gentle in its response. The Winfield Community Neighborhood Association says it's extending its condolences and prayer to the Franks family. They say the community is grateful for the 5 years that he spent there as a business owner, a community partner, and a neighbor. So services will be held Monday morning. Frank's family says that this is a private affair. They do not want people who didn't know him attending. Let's also get into this incident. We heard about a teen being killed after crashing his e-bike into a UPS truck. We now know his identity. We've got a photo to share with you all. You're taking a look there at a 16-year-old Chase Sudano. We hear that he was just days away from his 17th birthday. We also hear that he was part of the wrestling team at St. Augustine Prep School in Richland. As a matter of fact, his wrestling coach actually spoke to one of our reporters. I want to let you listen in to just a few words that he had to share with her.
A good character, funny, fun to be around, a good friend, a good teammate, just an all-around good kid, dedicated wrestler. would practice here and then go practice somewhere else after our practices were over.
Shayna Ferrer is the one who did this story. If you'd like to know a little bit more about him, his time wrestling, because we got to hear from other people who knew him very, very well. They all spoke so highly of him too, about the kind of person he was. No one wanted to see something like this happen. We have that available for you on the Free Fox Local app. Can also tell you UPS released a statement. It says, "We are heartbroken by the tragic accident in Southampton Township, New Jersey. Our thoughts and prayers go out to family and loved ones. We are fully cooperating with authorities to understand what happened. Since this is an active investigation, we must refer any additional questions to the authorities." And then last but not least, I want to walk you through an arrest that was made after an ICE agent hit a fleeing was hit. Let me walk that back because I want to make sure that I get this correct. There was an arrest made after an ICE agent was hit by a fleeing suspect. This was in New Jersey. We know now that the person who was in that car has been identified as 39-year-old Eduardo Cruz Garcia. He has been charged with assaulting a federal officer. And when this story broke, you know, a lot of the news organizations were talking about it. A lot of people couldn't help but make comparisons to Minneapolis, Minnesota. And think about someone like Renee Good, where they say that she was in a vehicle and they accused her of trying to use her vehicle to harm an ICE agent. A lot of people have been making some comparisons in this case where Eduardo Cruz Garcia, 39 years old, again has also been accused of using his vehicle to hit the ICE agent. In this case, that ICE agent was, hit and was killed in this incident. Now they say that Cruz Garcia was in the country illegally, still is. He's been arraigned and he's ordered to remain in custody. The crash itself took place on Monday morning at around 9:30 at Route 72 in Manahawkin, New Jersey. So if you guys are familiar with the area, they say that he was driving a white van and he had been stopped. He was part of an active investigation. Agents got out of their cars to talk to him. They approached that van from the driver and passenger sides of the van. And they say when they tried to talk to him and the passenger who was in that vehicle, they asked him to roll down the windows. They refused. So from there, they say Cruz Garcia drove his van forward. He ended up hitting the ICE agent, pinning him between the van and another ICE vehicle. He continued driving. He struck another ICE vehicle as the agent who he hit he fell to the ground in pain. Now the agent discharged his firearm into the vehicle. So another situation, like I said, a lot of people making some comparisons to the Renee Good situation. The agent ended up firing his gun. But police have not indicated whether or not Cruz Garcia or the passenger were hit by that gunfire. So the agent was rushed to the hospital for treatment and at a nearby hospital. So we have another article available for you about this on our website if you guys would like to take a look deeper into it and find out a little bit more information. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about some financial news. It's going to hit you in your pockets. We'll talk about that when we come back. All right, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. Let's talk about some news that's gonna hit your pockets. If you are on the SAVE plan, you've got student loans, you need to be aware because not too long from now, we're talking about July 1st, we're hearing that it's gonna be like that mass exodus of people trying to figure out where to go, what other plan they should get started with. Now, keep in mind, this is the Biden SAVE plan. A lot of people underneath this plan for student loans weren't paying any money at all towards their student loans each month. And some people who were, they were paying very little. Now, starting July 1st, again, you're gonna have about 90 days to select a new repayment plan. You're probably gonna hear from your loan servicer if you haven't already. And once you do choose a new repayment plan, I just want to let you know it's probably, well, not probably, it's going to mean higher monthly payments for a lot of you guys. So keep that in mind. I would suggest you go ahead, if you've been procrastinating it, go ahead and look on your servicer's website and try to figure out what you're going to do. Because again, once the deadline for sure comes up, they're going to pick for you, and they're probably going to pick the most expensive option for you. So keep that in mind. We're also hearing that a lot of us all across the country may pay a little bit more just to try to keep cool during the summer. We've been telling you guys we've had heat waves here in Philadelphia. We know it's going to be a really, really hot summer, especially for those of you who may be coming in town for some FIFA World Cup matches. It's really hot here, and we're hearing that you'll probably be spending a little bit more to cool your home. There was a recent study by the National Energy Assistance Directors Association that electrical bills are expected to increase nearly 11% this year alone. According to researchers, this steady increase has been taking place since 2020, cooling expenses surging nearly 40% ever since then. Now, some of the analysts say that these hikes are creating an affordability issue for people. They say they can't afford the bills. Their findings show that 1 in 6 American households is already behind in their utility bills. Researchers say that the total utility debt is expected to reach $25 billion by the end of this year. That is insane. Now, here's one that isn't necessarily going to hit your pockets in a bad way. It actually may mean you end up saving some money. We're hearing that bars are running out of alcohol amid the World Cup. So Scottish soccer fans, I didn't know this, but apparently you guys may be some drinkers. You guys are drinking Boston's bars dry, and they have been telling the media all about it. They've actually had to force some emergency beer deliveries into town. That is like crazy. How do you run out of beer? But they say there are just so many people coming in trying to have a good time. They're used to drinking a lot and they're ordering a lot. When their team wins, they want to do rounds. Like, it's an actual real problem for bars, and apparently not just for Boston. We're hearing that here in our neck of the woods in Philadelphia, there's a bar that is kind of struggling as well, not with beer, but apparently keeping vodka on the shelves. So y'all calm down, relax, maybe make it a dry summer or a dry couple of days. It's, you know, something that's going on there. I thought that was interesting. To be honest, I thought it was funny, but that's what's going on in our neck of the woods. I want to bring in Jake Leonard from our digital team. Let's go over some of what's trending. He always brings us the top news. We figure out what everybody's looking into, what everybody's reading. Jake, what's going on?
Okay, first off, I have to say, if I walked into a bar and they were like, sorry, we're out of beer, I wouldn't know what to do.
Like
I think it's crazy. I think it's crazy that they're saying that this in Boston is like triple, I think it was, the craziness of St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. Yes.
Like.
Yes. I mean, we could start there.
Yes.
But I don't know. And then to hear it's the vodka too.
Yes.
For us.
Yes. Yes. So I guess we'll see what happens. But, okay. Kind of, I'm trying to I was thinking of a good transition for this, and I cut it.
Let's just get to it.
What are your thoughts on fast food?
No, try not to eat it, but there are certain ones that I love.
Okay, like what? What are your favorites?
Well, you know I came from Atlanta, so I love me some Chick-fil-A.
Right.
I can eat Chick-fil-A all the time.
Right. I would say Chick-fil-A is one of my favorites, and for a while, I think a lot of people would say Chick-fil-A is their favorite. It was kind of agreed upon, but that actually just changed.
What do you mean?
So yesterday, we got some news from the American Consumer Satisfaction Index. Basically, Jersey Mike's has overtaken Chick-fil-A as the most popular.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I swear.
Well, actually, Jersey Mike's is pretty
Yes,
good.
so basically they have like a scoring thing, and Jersey Mike's got an 84, Chick-fil-A has an 83, okay? So it's like,
it's close.
Yeah, it's pretty close, but the thing that I think is, well, it's not shocking because you know people don't mess around with Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A had held this title for 11 years.
It's because that chicken is good.
Yes. 11 years Chick-fil-A was, you know, America's favorite fast food, agreed upon, but it's overtaken by Jersey Mike's. You know, a lot of people just say they love how fresh it is. They love a good hoagie. I know they might call it a sub, but I'm going to call it a hoagie. So I just think it's really interesting. So
How Northeast of you to call
Yeah.
it a hoagie. I don't think I've ever said that.
Yes.
But I like Jersey Mike's. I really like both.
I like Jersey Mike's too.
And what's interesting too, it's funny to me that they consider it to be fast food, which I mean I
Yeah.
get. I think of it as like, I guess, casual fast dining.
I never really considered Jersey Mike's super like fast foody. Like when I was like thinking about like the typical fast food places, I really wouldn't put Jersey Mike's in it. I'm curious, like they have like specific qualifications. I'm sure there's like some sort of reason.
I'm sure Chick-fil-A and those cows that are always
Yeah.
on the billboards.
I
are gonna
love
try to figure
those
out-
billboards.
Me too. They're gonna try to figure out a way to make it not count.
Yeah.
But really interesting if they beat them out by just 1 point.
I know, so close, but yet so far away. Totally different.
Okay.
Moving on from fast food. Again, trying to think of a good transition for this, but I can't. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe the people that I'm about to talk to, maybe they like Jersey Mike's. And we'll just say that.
Okay.
So, one of Hollywood's biggest it couples, Zendaya, Tom Holland.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. Know them.
There's been a lot of, you know, rumors floating around. Are they married? Are they not married? When is it coming? Whatever. Because a couple months ago, Zendaya's stylist, Law Roach, was on that red carpet, and they asked him about it, and he was like, it's already happened, like, you missed it, whatever. But people were like, it was Law just being messy, like, making stuff up.
That is like his #1 client. I'll
Yes.
tell you right now.
Yes.
No, absolutely not. Wouldn't risk it like that.
But Law wasn't lying. We have confirmation now that Tom Holland and Zendaya are officially married. And it came from Tom Holland's mouth, which I think is funny because he has a reputation for like spoiling things. He's pretty notorious. I remember like when he was first getting involved in Spider-Man and the Avengers, like he leaked a couple like plot details and stuff. So people were like, Zendaya did the whole like, you know, press tour for The Drama, which is a movie about a wedding, and she didn't. She was tight-lipped, and then he starts, you know, promoting for the new Spider-Man, which she is also promoting, but he lets it slip right away. So basically, what happened, if you didn't see it, he was doing, and I think this is kind of a pretty awesome way to reveal that they're married. He was doing an interview with, I think it was like some British news outlet, and they're like, yeah, like there were a lot of AI images that came out of the wedding, which, you know, I think people asked Zendaya about the same thing and she kind of brushed it off. But the interviewer was like, you know, there are all these AI images. Did you have to tell your family, you know, like, these aren't real, they're not legit? And he responded, no, I didn't, because they were there. And that's all he said.
Well,
and that was our confirmation.
Jake, real quick, why do you think they wanted to keep it? Like, was this is just between us? We want our own secret?
I
or-
think Zendaya always was a private person, you know, and he's, I mean, I feel like he's kind of relatively new, being super famous, and he seems like he's kind of quieter too, so I understand why they did it.
All right, good stuff. Thank you so much for bringing that to us.
Yes, thank you.
I want to let you all know out there, still ahead, the broadcast is going to bring you a lot more news. We're going to talk to you about that shooting at the Wilmington hospital, and then we'll also get into a couple of other things to get your forecast, all of that. I'm Judea Murray. This is Jake Leonard. You're watching Philadelphia Live. Love you guys. Join us next time.